Jahmyr Gibbs have agreed on a 3-year, $67 million extension that can be worth up to $75 million and includes $51 million of guaranteed money. And then in smaller potatoes, Jonathan Taylor agreed to a 2-year, $44 million extension today with the Colts. Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it in and get a quote in minutes. Plus, access thousands of products beyond what's in store or shown on the Lowe's.com. Right now, from the Lowe's Pro Desk.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer. San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. You're Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? We are back. Me and Alan. Reunited.
Me,
Is it Alan and I?
and Brent as well.
It's Alan and
We're
I.
all in the mix here.
But I said me and Alan, which is improper English.
That's right.
It's Alan and I have been reunited.
Bro, how awful, like,
Is
just
English
going on. What's that?
Or is English class or grammar?
How awful was, do you ever have these days where, now this kind of comes with the territory, right? And I know we don't have to jump right into it, but it comes with the territory. 2 nights ago, I sat down to watch some Padres baseball, and I enjoyed my evening.
Led 8-0.
And then yesterday, there was a little bit of like maybe, I don't know, did I get greedy? Because I just thought the same thing's going to happen here. We're good.
Good pitching matchup last night. It felt right.
Kind of felt like it was in our,
Mize.
yeah, let's sit down, relax. Let's crack open a beer and just enjoy the game. That didn't go. Why does baseball do that?
It is.
Why is
very
it so
frustrating.
unpredictable?
Brent on the way out of the show said, "Good luck. They're facing some rando no name."
Literally, he called that out.
literally said that,
Literally
and that's
called that
exactly
out.
what
Mhm.
played out. I'll say this for Casey Mize. Remember what I said yesterday? I said you have one chance to make a first impression.
And I said what?
You said my name is
7
Alan.
chances.
You have 7
I said
chances.
you get 7 chances to make a good impression.
But you know what happened last night? Now
Yeah.
all of a sudden he can be good his next outing, but people will reference what happened last night. He's going to need to be good a couple of times. It doesn't even matter in terms of, I hope he's good his next time out.
Yeah.
And I'll give him one start. But last night, it couldn't have gone worse for Casey Mize and the Padres. He was hit often, early, hard. They're never in the game, and they lose 10-4. They scored 4 runs there in the 9th inning. And now we were talking to each other off air, like, are you all of a sudden in a situation tonight like you were maybe a couple of days ago where it's like, no, it's not a must, but it's like you kind of got to win the game, right?
Bro, you can't. I think you could look at this. If I told you coming into this series against Arizona, you lost 3 of 4, you would say, like, that's freaking awful. Coming off of the trade deadline, coming off of the 8-1 to make AJ Preller say, hey, I'm going to go buy at the trade deadline. You had 2 stars. I know Robbie Ray doesn't go till tomorrow, but look, there's just some good momentum here. There's a colossal difference, a massive difference between 2-2 in this road trip against Arizona and 1-3.
Huge.
And they've been behind this whole, obviously this entire time, lost the first game,
Right.
tied it up, lost the third game. We'll see if they get tied up tonight. But I'm with you. I think there's a lot riding on this game. Competition's going to get tougher. Like
Houston, Milwaukee coming up.
there's been a little piece here of like, oh, well, the Padres got such easier competition in the second half of the schedule. You eventually have to beat some good teams in the process.
Dude, I'll say this too. They don't make this thing easy. Just when you think they're playing well, I know they were playing bad teams, and we said that each and every day when they were winning. But you get on the other side of the deadline, you're like, there's some momentum. They've added to the rotation. And since the deadline, they're actually 1-2 in this series. Also tonight, consider this. If you lose, you're 3 out behind Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
You would be 4-6 against the Diamondbacks. Now you play them 3 more times. But even if you
is this
win,
another
now it's the
tiebreaker?
tiebreaker game. Because if
If-
you're 4-6 against them,
Philly, you don't have the tiebreaker because you have not won one game against them.
is that how it works though?
So
Do you
it
have to
didn't
win a
really
game?
come down to much there, 0-6. To be honest, and I'm not sure about the teams behind them. I know there was a point where looking at St. Louis,
Give
but
me
they
some
seem to
teams.
be fading.
Yeah, give me a team. I'll tell you what
Miami.
the record is. The Padres are 3-0 against Miami.
Oh, that's right. That's only, but
Yep.
they play them 3 more times.
They have 3 more, but they'll win
good,
that.
good
Let's still have the
position, good
tiebreaker.
position for that.
Give me
So
another
really, honestly, what it comes down to, the Arizona. Look, so tonight with a win, they're
You're
5-5.
5-5.
Brother, you got to win tonight.
Because then you have a 3-game home series where if you went 2-1 against them, you would also have a tiebreaker. But if you lose tonight, you're 4-6. If you go 2-1 at
that's the
home,
point. Yeah,
you
that's the
still
point. No,
lose
tonight's
the
a big
series.
one.
It's
a big one.
very big game.
Especially because what do we think's actually going to happen? It's going to come down to San Diego and Arizona.
It's going to come down. I agree.
I think Philly will eventually separate themselves. Can I give you? I want to give you a. We were going to do this when we were prepping, but we said we'd hold off.
Okay.
All right, strength of schedule.
Oh yeah, you said this
for the Padres. So this was kind of one of the advantages, but these get updated every single game.
Yeah.
And they get updated because you just played 2
someone.
against Colorado, 4 against San Francisco. Miami was hovering around 500. And now, obviously, the Padres taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. As we sit here today, I think at one point they had the 26th toughest schedule, so the fourth easiest schedule.
Yeah.
Fourth easiest schedule. Right now, where do you think they are on this strength of schedule? Tankathon does this, so this is, they just compute
Well, the way
this.
you're saying it leads me to believe that all of a sudden the script has flipped at least a little bit. And I'm thinking about Milwaukee and Houston and the Dodgers, for example. I know on their schedule, but there's still 40-something games. I'll say they've moved from fourth easiest, Allen, to middle of the pack, 15th toughest or 15th easiest, whatever. I'll just say middle of the pack, 15th.
So they have the 11th hardest schedule left now. So they went from the 26th
hardest.
I don't even know how to describe it. They have the 11th toughest schedule left. So still that 3-game set against Milwaukee, 3 against LA, 3 against Tampa, 3 against New York, 4 more against Arizona because of this one. And then that set against Houston is in the mix here.
They're over 500.
Now they're going to have some, they're going to have some easier games, and them in Arizona I think are 11th and 12th, from strength of schedule. So that's a significant change over a course of 2 weeks. Eventually, you're going to have to start beating good teams.
What's the Padres record?
By the way, that's at the end of the day, they're literally going to have to beat some of these teams that they're either going to face or are going to be in the postseason in the AL or the NL. That's how they're eventually going to get in.
You think they'll get in? It's an interesting so they'll get in beating good teams as opposed to getting in beating bad teams?
I don't think you could just beat bad teams and get in.
What's the record right now? Seriously, what's the record right now? 59 and 56, right?
Yes, I think
59
so.
and 56.
Yeah.
The reason I bring that up, they're 8-1 against Colorado. If they had never played the Rockies this year, they're 51 and 55. So they're buoyed by that. That's why they're 2 games out.
Still have 4 more against Colorado.
But I agree with your sentiment. Now that you're telling me they have the 11th toughest schedule, all of a sudden you can't just 4-game series your way against Colorado to the postseason.
You're going to have to beat some good teams to get in. By the way, that's not probably any different for Arizona.
Yeah, it's true.
But the difference is like, we've had this conversation. If AJ Preller is going to go out and he's going to go make some trades, he's going to trade his top pitching prospect and some other guys within the system. He's doing that with the idea and the concept is go make the postseason. If you're going to make the postseason, you can't back your way in.
That's a great point.
That it's going to take at the end of the day, you're going to have to play these teams in the playoffs anyway. So by the time we find out whether the Padres are in the postseason or not, they either beat teams that are going to be in the playoffs, which gives you a little bit more hope that when they're in the postseason, they could beat some of these squads, or they're not going to make the playoffs because they couldn't beat playoff teams.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point in general. By the way, the Padres, the idea of backing into the postseason, it's not going to happen. Like if they continue to play like this, Alan, they go, for example, this year they went 18-7 in April. From that point on, in May, 13-15 under 500. June, 11-15 under 500. July, the red hot offense, #1 in baseball, July 2nd to August 2nd per Kyle Glazer. 13-13.
Wow.
In July. This month, 3-2. We've just gotten underway. But I'm with you, like the backing in, I don't think you can go 13-13 in August, 13-13 and make it up in September. I think you'll be on the outside. I think other teams will separate. Someone's going to play well enough to beat you.
Yeah, in Arizona, I don't know their exact, what it's looking like, but they got some real players that will be back.
I kind of like their team. Like I watch them play and I'm like, they're a problem enough. It's not that San Diego can't be comparable to them, but they're good enough.
Their offense stretches too.
Yeah.
Their offense stretches.
And they're pitching. I mean, last night their rookie starter, Brent, called this. We've seen this against the Padres. You got some rookie dude that had never won in the major leagues. He goes 7 innings, allows 1 hit. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
I'm not here to sound an alarm, but I think this all goes back to go 2-2 against the Diamondbacks.
True.
Like this game tonight does, I feel like, have some significant meaning, and I'll give the Padres credit here. They've bounced back in some of these games. I mean,
Yeah.
there've been a few different times, even when they went 8-1 in that stretch. The Miami game where they came back late. I'm trying to think. I think it was the Rockies game that they came back a couple different times during that Rockies game.
San Francisco, I think they had some good wins in that 4-game series they just played.
Held on to some games.
Yeah.
And then even this Arizona game bounced back after that first loss. So they got some work to do. But I again, it's not we're not here to shed some panic. But if you lose tonight and you start hitting that 3 games out and you got some real competition that's coming up, you can find yourself 4 or 5 games out a week from now, and we all kind of could be, you're starting to kind of reach a point of the season where it's like, all right, well, this ain't just up to you. It's also what other teams do as well.
Let's hear from Craig Stammen on Casey Mize. He hadn't pitched. He missed a turn in the rotation, so he was like 10 days between outings. Obviously, it did not go well. And this was Craig Stammen postgame on Casey Mize and the Padres last night.
Not what you would have expected, Craig. What was your kind of view on Casey tonight?
Yeah, probably 11 days off from pitching, and a little bit of not being out of his routine, traveling, all that kind of stuff. A lot going on, new team, and then just came out, just wasn't quite as sharp right from the beginning. He's typically a big strike thrower, and that just wasn't the case today. And I know once he gets back in his 5-day routine, he'll be back to normal and the guy that we know that we traded for.
Just what you said, and it's a lot of pitches that are kind of like his most effective ones just weren't. They were getting hit tonight. Like,
yeah,
that makes you go, okay, we'll get that guy next time.
Yeah, exactly. And Arizona's not the easiest place to pitch either. The ball doesn't move the same way. It's dry. You don't get a good grip on the ball. So all those factors working against him. But you got to go out there and play. That's part of it. I know the next time will be better.
What was the challenge tonight against Brad?
Yeah, he was just somebody we'd never seen before. Interesting pitch mix. He threw a few more strikes than what he has in the past, and kind of kept us off balance, a little effectively wild within the zone, and we just weren't able to center the ball up on him. A lot of weak contact, and I just couldn't get anything going.
It felt like an out of sorts performance for your offense, the way you guys have played lately. Is it you just chalk it up as one game, or is there anything more than that, or kind of what do you make of it?
Yeah, I can't predict the future. I can only go off the past, and I got to say that's just one game. Over the course of 162, that just didn't go our way, and for whatever reason, what he was throwing up there wasn't matching our hitter swings and our eyes, and his fastball was getting on us definitely. It was a lot harder than what the scoreboard said it was, which good for him. He pitched a great game. It's probably one of the best games he's pitched in the big leagues.
Obviously, important series finale tomorrow. You guys have done a pretty solid job lately of bouncing back after tough losses. Is that imperative tomorrow?
Yeah, I hope so. Our team's a bounce back team. Whether it goes well for us tomorrow or not, we'll continue to bounce back, continue to show up with the right attitude, the right energy, give the right effort. I think it spoke to us like what we saw in the 9th inning, scoring 4 runs. That's momentum we can carry into the next day. Shows that we don't quit, don't give up, no matter what the score is.
Craig Stammen on Casey Mize and the Padres. And I understand what he's saying. I think he was completely excusing it, but there's some reasons that can be taken into account.
I will take this. I know we got to go to break, but there's some really good quotes from Casey Mize coming off of that loss. And it's kind of what you want to hear from a pitcher that makes his first debut for the San Diego Padres. And it's probably the only way for him to respond, but we could react to that coming up.
We'll share those on the other side. Plus, how does what the Padres do down the stretch this year impact AJ Preller's future? We'll discuss that this hour. Good show lined up. Mark Zeigler from the UT is joining us at 4:30. Alex Pavlovic, NBC Bay Area at 4 p.m. on Robbie Ray to the Padres. He'll make his Padres debut tomorrow against Houston. This is Schaefer and Sliwa. Stay with us.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances to win $1,000 every weekday with a bonus bucks giveaway. That's every hour, 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportssd.com. Your next chance to win $1,000 coming up after 4 p.m. on San Diego Sports 760.
I really like this quote from Casey Mize. I respect, listen, it's professional sports. The other team is trying to do things too.
Yeah.
It doesn't always go your way.
He did get his ass kicked, but
He
yes.
did. You're 100% right. That's a completely fair caveat, 100%. But there were 2 things I respected last night.
Okay.
The first, when they're all on the mound and Stammen's taking the ball from him, he hits Campy on the chest as if to say, it's on me. Because Campy's calling the game, and I would imagine that Campy, when he goes out there, is saying something along the lines of, it's my bat. Like whatever my pitch mix was not good enough. He's saying, all good. And then what he said post-game, Alan, where he says, not the first impression I wanted to make for my teammates and for the fans. Pretty tough time to have the worst start of my career. I just put us in a really tough spot. Didn't give us a chance to win. So frustrated and embarrassed by that. I respect that.
Yeah, you do. I'm with you. That's all you can really say. And I think here's the good thing.
Give it to me.
And his stuff was, they were hitting everything. Like there was nothing was getting by. There really was. I'll tell you something kind of funny about yesterday's game. You know, this happens, right? You're watching your squad. There's a little bit of momentum. They played really well the night before, and you just think the same thing's going to happen.
Yep.
Tatis the night before came up double, right?
Yep,
that started out the game. Tatis yesterday, first pitch, out.
Yep.
And
he went 1, 2, 3 in the first, didn't they?
Went 1, 2, 3. And it just, but like it kind of set the tone for what the game was going to be. Then you're excited to see Casey Mize. Got out of the first inning, almost gave up a 3-run homer. Okay. I mean, I'm talking about on the warning track, almost gave it up. First couple of guys I think were on to start out the game. I'm like, all right, maybe he just settled, got out. And I kept hearing them say, I think he's got one of the best ERAs in all of baseball in the first inning. So he gets off to good starts, and I'm like, okay, he settled in, give this guy a second. Then you kind of just knew that the game was, was going the direction that he's going. I become curious now of like, all right, you get hit in the chin. He comes out, he says everything that he said. Stamen's going to try to make excuses for him, which probably bothers him even more because he doesn't want to make any excuses for what he did. Now we'll obviously wait and see. You said something a little bit earlier in the show. You said something that people are going to remember that first start. Honestly, we also have a very, very short memory when it comes to sports because you know this more than anything else. You see instant reaction after games, and either somebody is being crucified or they're being praised as the greatest player ever. All he's got to do is come out and just have a good second start.
I thought back to what our guest from the Arizona Republic had to say yesterday when I was like, hey, the GM of the D-backs called himself out. I was like, I didn't do enough. He's like, you know what? Oftentimes at trade deadlines, we get so enamored with it, but it's not a true difference maker. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, interesting thought. And I'm thinking, well, they got Ray and Mize, San Diego did, and Arizona did not address starting pitching. Well, we're 1 start in, and Mize obviously was completely ineffective. As in, these guys are going to have to produce in a very short window of time. If they go 5-5 in Mize's 10 starts, is it worth what they gave up? Of course it's not, unless he does something in the postseason. You're not going to be confident, by the way.
By the way, that's such a good point.
Right, and then what if Robbie Ray takes a step back?
Say Mize went 5-5, and you were 1 game from making the playoffs, and you're out.
Yeah.
And we're going to sit here and we're going to now question like, well, what the hell were we doing? Why did we do it? But it's true. And if he goes 7-3 or 6-4 and is the difference of making the postseason, it's like, all right, it obviously made sense.
Dude, that's the calculus for me. And I've mentioned this maybe here, maybe on the wrap-up show. The calculus for me is like, it's 20 starts, Ray and Mize, 20 games if they're healthy. Let's say without them, Alan, you were going 10-10. I'm making it up. Just give me a baseline, 9-11. Well, then with them, you better be going 12-8 or better because so we're saying you gave up 3 prospects to win 2 more games. Why? Because we think the difference between making the postseason or not could be a couple of games. So I get it if you're a couple of games better and you make it. But if you're on the outside by a game or 2, I mean, this is all, I don't know if it's all for naught, but a lot of it is certainly for naught.
Yesterday, we were having a conversation about AJ Preller. And, I was trying to think in my head. I'm like, all right, because basically, to recap our conversation, there was a little bit of like, hey, is AJ Preller actually, could he be playing for something this year? Like,
it's
could
a fair question.
His future, by the way, I don't know if it is.
It's a fair question.
I don't know if new ownership is like, yeah, I'll tell you one thing we're not changing.
Is Preller.
We're not changing Preller. Let's give this at least another year and we'll figure things out.
But we don't know.
But the difference with Preller is he's been here for a while. And Preller is not one of those kind of stays under the radar. Everything Preller does is with a megaphone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as I kind of look at the rest of the season and I'm trying to figure out, all right, let's play out some scenarios for AJ Preller. If the Padres did not make the postseason this year, they don't get into one of those wild card spots. It goes chalk. It's Philly and Arizona.
Yeah.
And whatever happens from there happens from there. Let's just say that happened. What then what's the conversation about AJ Preller? Let me play out another scenario. It goes exactly like it did last year. You made moves to get you into the wild card spot, but you're not good enough in the wild card round, and the season is over.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last scenario I would say is, and maybe I'm lowering my expectations and my bar, but let's just, whatever that meant, as in you won the wild card round and now you're in a divisional, and wherever you go from there, you go from there. I mean, that kind of takes care of itself. But I think there are some interesting scenarios for Preller the rest of the way that you'll probably get wild conclusions from fans, and probably you and I, based on just these like little factors here. You got in and you're out within 3 games, or you got past that wild card spot.
It's interesting. We could talk about it as well on the other side, but I would say that the difference between being in or out is night and day. Night and day. My opinion will change based on that fact alone. If they're out, all bets to me are off. We don't know the ownership's motivation. We literally have not heard from the man or woman, Kwanzaa Jones or Jose Feliciano.
Yeah.
We have no clue
And hopefully
what he's
soon.
thinking.
Hopefully
and maybe we do in
next
August.
couple of weeks.
And maybe, by the way, he backs his general manager. Maybe he doesn't. And that alone will be an indicator moving forward.
Well, I would say this, and here's the thing is, like, if I'm an owner and I'm walking into the San Diego Padres, your president of baseball operations is like no other in the game. Like there's no comp to AJ Preller. So it's almost as if you're running a business and your general manager is very well known because he does business one way. That could be polar opposite of how this new ownership group wants to do business. Like AJ Preller is not he's not a typical general manager. He is by far nowhere even close to what a typical general manager is. So there's kind of an extreme factor, and I wouldn't be shocked if new ownership looks at that and says, that's not our style. Like, we'll have to wait and see.
That's the part. The speculating is the hardest part because we have no real indication for what their desires are. What do you guys think about AJ Preller's future related to whether they are in or out of the postseason this year? 877-767-4760, or you can text us 70470, start it with team, or hit us up on the talkback mic. We'll react to more of that on the other side. Alex Pavlovic from NBC Bay Area at 4 p.m. on Robbie Ray. Mark Zeigler from the UT on the Pac-12 Mountain West Settlement at 4:30. We're here until 6 on Schaefer and Sliwa. Stay with us. Hey guys, it is Schaefer again for my friends at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Make sure to get out to Starlight Pool this summer. Next level chill. You can soak up the sun, soak in the views at San Diego's ultimate rooftop pool. They have day passes starting at just $40. Grab your friends, relax, make it a pool day to remember. Plus, keep the weekend vibes going with Sunday pool parties at Starlight Pool, live DJs, cocktails, cabanas, all-day rooftop energy. You're going to love the hotel and spa at Hamul. You really will. With the elevated luxury, the refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, the indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Hamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. You can take your stay to the next level. They have exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. Make sure to check out all the dining options while you're there, like Hamul 23. With their lobster buffet every day, you can enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations. Start your morning with their new signature breakfast buffet. That's Monday through Friday, 8 to 10:30 a.m. Made to order omelets, fresh fruit, and sweet and savory favorites at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for the last game of their 4-game set. It's going to be Walker Buehler going against Cole Drake. First pitch is at 6:40. And earlier in the week, Bijan Robinson was named the highest paid running back in NFL history. Well, not anymore. The Lions and running back Jahmyr Gibbs agreed on a 3-year, $67 million extension, which can be worth up to $75 million with incentives, and $51 million of that is guaranteed. And then also Jonathan Taylor and the Colts agreed on a 2-year, $44 million extension. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago, and only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa. Alex Pavlovic will join us at 4 p.m. more on Robbie Ray, transitioning from San Fran to San Diego. He'll start tomorrow against the Houston Astros. That homestand about to get underway tomorrow. Houston and Milwaukee.
Is this 6 game homestand?
6 games, big ones. Houston's really playing well, by the way. They're in first place now in the AL West. Milwaukee, they just put it on ESPN. They have one of the best records in baseball since the break, and they were already playing well. So that's no easy homestand coming up for San Diego, making tonight even more pivotal.
Yeah, exactly what we're talking about. For all those reasons, plus you're playing Arizona, who's in front of you in the wild card, plus you're trying to kind of hang in there from a tiebreaker perspective. You know, listen, we do this a lot in sports. I get it, and it probably gets exhausting. This, at least, what's at stake because of the tiebreaker, and it's Arizona, and you're trying to go 2-2 in this 4-game set against Arizona. This kind of as big as it gets for them. As big as it gets
on this day.
August.
I agree.
Right? Like as big as it gets in August.
You had a question for me, then I have a question for you. You saw something power rankings related that I haven't seen, and then I have a question for you I need to pose.
ESPN did power rankings post-trade deadline. So basically where everybody is now, that's it. The rosters are done. There's nothing else to figure out. How many teams are in the NL in the top 5?
How many teams in the NL are in the top 5? I would say that LA remains in the top 5. I would say Milwaukee remains in the top 5. I could see them pushing the Cubs potentially as high as the top 5. I don't think Atlanta or Philadelphia right now would sit in the top 5. I will say 3.
4 teams in the top 5.
Who, Atlanta?
Atlanta's number 3. Atlanta has 69 wins.
Okay.
I guess I didn't realize. I mean, they got the same amount of wins as the Dodgers right now.
Okay.
So I guess
All right,
Atlanta's
fair.
been balling out.
That's
so
fair.
you got the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Braves, and the Chicago Cubs.
In that
their
order?
latest power rankings, they got Tampa at number 4.
Okay.
In their latest power rankings, 4 of the top 5 teams in all of baseball are all in the NL.
Could be a problem.
That's a little bit of a problem.
Which we've discussed before.
All right. You think Padres? Where do you think Padres are on this list? Post trade
Well,
deadline.
now that
Obviously, everybody is complimenting the Padres too
Right.
about making a couple of trades.
Well, now that I know they're not in the top 5, they're not in the top 5, which they shouldn't be.
Yep.
Are they in the top 10? According to ESPN, this came out when, Alan? Today?
Today, yeah.
You know, they are 9-3 in their last 12, even including yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put them, and maybe this is a little overly optimistic since they're on the outside looking in. I'll put them at 10th.
Arizona 10th, Padres 11th.
That was close.
So
That's fair.
yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's actually
Is 11 too high?
it's a good ranking for them to be. You know, their previous ranking they had them 15th. So because of
Maybe
the
it
run
is.
that they went on, they moved up. But this is the concern I would have for the Padres. And again, it is what it is. But 4 of the top 5 teams they think in Major League Baseball are the NL.
Yep.
All 6 teams in the top 10. You know, obviously the Arizona put
Right.
Philly, put everybody else. And the NL is stacked. And the problem with the NL, not only is it stacked, but the Cubbies look like they could be as dangerous as any team out there.
Just walked off.
Milwaukee, obviously dangerous. You
Yeah.
know, obviously we know the Dodgers and everything. There's some real deal competition in there.
All right, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Are you okay with the Padres officially announcing yesterday and then confirmed today the exact amount? Are you cool with the Padres raising ticket prices for a 6th consecutive year next year? Of course, there's the looming lockout. They did announce they'll have a 3% average weighted increase for season ticket members in 2027. It was an average of 7% in 2026. Eric Rupner citing in the member letter both ballpark enhancement projects and the payroll of the club as reasons for the increase. Cool or not cool?
I'm gonna give you an example. There's if you rent here in San Diego, typically there's
goes
going to
down.
be an increase. Yeah, there's going to be an increase, like a 3% increase, if you're going to sign another
Makes sense.
annual.
Yep.
If I'm being honest with you, I don't think it makes sense.
But I mean,
But
we
the
understand that it
excuse is
happens.
there that
Yeah.
yes, that you can do it. So, was the question, am I okay with it?
Yeah, kind of.
I'm not okay with it. Yeah, I'm not.
How come?
I'm not okay with it because, that's 6 straight years you're saying we want more from you,
Yep.
and I get. You know, you could say this is the price of doing business. I understand that if there's one thing that San Diego has, they have a demand for Petco Park. So the economics of it, I get it. I understand. I can't argue it, but would I have rather appreciated them? And this is not how life works. This is not how big corporations work. Would I have rather appreciated them and said, you just keep coming out to the ballpark, and what we're trying to do is just make this an affordable experience for you and your family? The answer is they don't do that, and it's not just them, and it's probably not going to happen, especially if you have a demand. Yesterday, Brent, before the show ended, you know, we talked about this for a quick second. It's like, listen, when you're selling out your building, the prices are not going to go down. They're going to continue to go up. The reason why your price goes down or it stays as is because you don't have enough demand. They have a demand at Petco Park. Because they have a demand, there's a justification for doing it. But your question is, do I like it? The answer is no, I don't like it, but I don't need to like it. There's
They
an
can do it.
economics part of it that goes with it.
Here's the part, the only part I don't like. I'm all for saying, hey, we're going to take this revenue and resources and put it back into our club. That to me makes sense. When you reference ballpark improvement projects, that to me should be separate and aside from your season ticket bases contribution, so to speak. That to me is like capital projects. The organization should be accountable for putting new video boards up or new walkways, or that to me shouldn't be put on your fan base. By the way, there was someone I saw on social media, Philip at Petco Park. I just randomly saw it. It came up in my timeline. He said, in my 7 years as a season ticket holder, my pair has gone from $4,450 to $9,150, which, by the way, makes sense. Maybe he's moved his seats, but also if you raise them 7%, 7%, 7%, 7%, and eventually here 3%, that's a lot of money. You keep doing that every year. It's like the opposite of investing in the stock market. You know, all of a sudden your $4,000 turns into $8,000.
Now, I'll say this. You know, if I put it this way, if the San Diego Padres were not investing into the team and we're not trying to win, we're having a completely different conversation.
That'd be worse. Yeah.
But we're having a different conversation. Here's where I could give the Padres legitimate credit. They have built a very interesting, sought-off franchise where it is a place to be in San Diego. You know what I hope we could be saying 2 years from now? I hope that we could be having the same conversation that J.D. Wicker of San Diego State University and Snapdragon Stadium saying, guys, hey, listen, we have to raise prices for season tickets because that means now there's more of a demand.
Sure.
And if you look at, you know, and that's a position that you want to be in. The position you want to be in is people are coming to your spot. And what you don't want to have happen is, you know, it's like you got a restaurant. You got to keep giving out discounts for people to come into your restaurant. Hopefully those discounts are going to make them permanent guests at your restaurant. Right now, the Padres have the ability to say, come out. Yes, we have increased prices, but we're in the thick. These games matter. And we are investing into our team. If that wasn't there, like if they were not investing, if they were shedding payroll and here they are, they're asking you to pay more, I would have more of a gripe towards it. But anytime prices are increased, I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, I'm so happy about that.
And let me make this point as well, because Grupner in the letter referenced their payroll going up at the deadline as one of the reasons for the increase. And I thought to myself, well, hold on. Your payroll going up your payroll went up 1% at the deadline. You've already put $200 million into the team. Maybe you went up 2%. You put another $4 million into this team. The Giants paid half of Robbie Ray. Casey Mize is making nothing. He's making under $2 million remaining on his deal this year. So your payroll went up like 2% at the trade deadline. Like that to me is not a justification for raising ticket prices. Just say the real reason. Just say the cost of doing business is going up.
Yeah, I listen, if the details of why you're justifying, I'm with you. You know, don't get too cute with the justification. And listen, I think people will understand. Here's the worst part about sports in general. That ain't cheap anymore. Like going out to just go to a game. I mean, I don't even know. I remember, you know, you and I, we had that event in front of Petco,
opening day,
the season opener. I parked on the street and I was unaware of this. Remember, I wasn't even officially here yet or anything. I was unaware of what happened to these meters now,
like
where
10 or 20 an hour or something that time of day.
What the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like that's also, there comes a point. Here's what you don't want as a consumer. Do I feel like I'm getting ripped off? If I go to a restaurant, I don't need you charging me $22 for a glass of wine. Like,
you understand you're going to pay a premium, but not to that extent.
Reasonable. Like that's all. I think people just want reasonable. And again, I think going back to how Grupner explained it, I'm with you. Just you don't have to get too cute with it. We understand how the business works. We understand. Just keep putting your money where your mouth is in the sense of it's going to go back into the team. That's all people are really asking.
Saturday with my son Jones, we both got boba tea. I got a veggie dog. He got a pretzel. I bought him a baseball, a mini bat, maybe a T-shirt.
Yep.
We paid to park.
Yep.
I mean, this is just me and him.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the total expenditure. Now that's on me. Did I have to buy the mini bat? Did I have to buy the baseball?
No, but you want the best experience for your son, or your son is asking for things.
Boba tea was very good. That was from a vendor. Did I have to buy the boba tea? Maybe not. We both got one. Anyway, whatever I spent, it was a good amount of money. They did win. And he had a good time, and so did I. All right. On the other side, we're getting you ready to talk to Alex Pavlovic, NBC Bay Area. He'll join the show coming up at 4 p.m. More on Robbie Ray being traded from the Giants to the Padres. Mark Zeigler from the UT on a Pac-12 Mount West settlement as well. What are you laughing
Might
at?
be the best YouTube comment. It's the bogey inflation tax.
Honestly, it probably is. All right. More on the Padres getting set for this crucial series finale in Arizona coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa. All right, Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. Alex Pavlovic, Alan, NBC Bay Area, joining us at 4 p.m. Robbie Ray from Northern California down to San Diego. He'll make his debut tomorrow night. So we'll touch on Robbie Ray coming up with Alex Pavlovic and the Giants, by the way, who are just mired in like They can't get out of their own way. Like the last time the Giants put together a full year was that amazing year, right? They won 107 games. And from that point on, they've just been going backwards and backwards.
I would take that history. That would.
You take, their history. No,
that would be okay there. I would take that.
So you would, I'm taking 3 titles in 5 years. How many titles do the Giants have in the history of the franchise?
Is Bochy's resume really
good?
World Series appearance in '98 with the Padres.
Pretty good. Texas.
Unbelievable run in San Francisco with 3 World Series.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go to Texas and just get one more real quick before I call it a day.
Yeah, it's pretty good. By the way, on San Francisco, real quick, because they have 8 titles all time. Like, wow, San Francisco's 8 titles. Well, hold on. Their first in San Francisco was in 2010. And listen to this. They moved to the Bay in 1958.
Wow.
That amount of time is very similar to the Padres to now because they came in at 69.
Yeah.
Padres actually now passed that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But think about that. From 58 till 2010,
good point. Jeez.
They had a drought of titles.
And then here's 3 of them.
I mean, that is amazing. No, that's not right. No, it is right. Their last title before was the 1954
John, is it right
New York
or not?
Giants. It's right.
You just need to
Their
know.
previous title was 1954.
We are live on the radio.
That's all right. Do you remember that 1888? What do you remember most about that 1888 team?
Well, honestly,
was it the pitching?
The bullpen was unreliable.
I don't think bullpens existed. It was just you pitched for the whole game.
What were the ticket price? Did they raise ticket prices that year? They went up 3% that year.
By the way, look
from a nickel to a dime.
Look at this. I probably just got rid of my. I did. Sorry, I'm messing with my YouTube. I'm all over the place. They won the 1889 World Series 6 games to 3. How do you win a World Series 6 games to 3?
Everybody knows it's best of 9. No,
that's best of 11. What is winning a World Series 6 games to 3 in 1889?
It was. By the way, next time just tell me. You don't have to unconnect your entire laptop. You almost
this
took
is becoming a problem.
But the
camera's a problem.
But why are you moving it? Just don't move it.
It's a laptop. It's not a desktop.
I know, but we're sitting down. Like, what do you need to move? Just type.
That's a fair point. I'll take the blame for it. Did we put a bow on the Preller conversation or not? Like, do we have any answers, or is it even answerable?
Okay, quick question. They don't make the playoffs. They don't make the wild card. They're not in the postseason. Is there a legitimate conversation? People yelling at you. Is there a legitimate conversation that he could potentially, you could make a case to lose his job?
Make a case, of course. It's a fair case.
Would you make that case, or would you say, no, I've seen enough success, postseason runs, entertainment, bringing in big stars?
Dude, and I don't know. I've kind of defended him here recently, but I don't know, because everything is contingent on how it plays out.
But I don't know if it is, because I think
contingent.
Here's why I don't think it's contingent is because, like you said, if they make a wild card again, a postseason berth in the wild card, and are out in 2 or 3 games, you don't think he goes anywhere.
No, I think he's safe there. But that's a big difference to me between that or missing.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying, like, then we have set the bar that it's okay for him to continue to mortgage the future
to get in,
to just make a wild card spot. That's the bar then that we've set.
I will go with that bar, as opposed to the Toddy bar, Machado bar that sometimes I lower or we lower, because I'm like, well, Toddy's never gonna be that Toddy. Because hear me out. The reason I'll do that is they play in the same division as the LA Dodgers. So how can I ask for anything more than a wild card berth when I go into the season telling everyone, by the way, it's not reasonable to expect anything more than a wild card berth?
There's a big difference between squeezing in at the number 6 spot and being the 4 spot.
And that is a difference,
right? You could be the Chicago Cubs and not win the division because you're in the same division as the Brewers
and host a series.
Not only host a series, but be a real threat in the postseason.
This year they could be a very big threat. Yeah.
So I think there's, again, like I think that, yes, the Dodger part I agree with, but there's other paths to be a legitimate contender in the postseason. And I think most people right now wouldn't look at the Padres that way. So if you're saying Preller, he's good to go, just make the wild card spot, then I think that then sets the bar. Then the bar is all he has to do every year is just make a wild card spot. And if he wants to give away the Padres' future every single year, it's okay because he got to a wild card spot.
Do you think he would be susceptible if he kept making wild card appearances? Like, at what point would his job be in jeopardy? Let's say the next 2 years they're a wild card team, and let's say both of the years they're sneaking in. Is he at some point susceptible?
I think here's the issue I have. I think there's a difference between getting in, how he gets in. It's different than I think other teams. Because if he's getting in by the trade deadline, I'm giving up everything we have to get in. That's different than a team that still has a lot in their farm system, or is a top 10 team in the or top 10 franchise as far as their farm system goes. The only issue I have with AJ Preller is I have to go all in every single year and risk giving up potential superstars under control for 5 or 6 years. And all I'm doing is just getting in. Most teams that say I'm giving up my number 1, my number 2, my number 5, my number 8, my number 10 prospect
are competing.
Usually they're in a position, if they're doing that, it's like, yeah, but I did that because I got a shot of going all in.
My caveat, I made this point yesterday. The 4 years they've made the postseason under Preller, all since 2020, they've never just snuck in to this point, is what I would say, right? 2020, all right, COVID year, whatever. They were really good. 2022, when they beat the Dodgers in the postseason, they were 89-73. They weren't the 6th seed. What were they? They lost. That 2022 team beat the Mets, so they were a road wild card team, and then beat the Dodgers in 4. The 2024 team won 93 games, and they hosted a playoff series against Atlanta. And then the 2025 team went to Chicago and lost, and that was a 5 seed. So they haven't yet been the 6 seed.
You know the worst part about the position that they're in, and somebody pointed this out on YouTube, but the worst part of the position they're in, you know, I don't know how much you put on Preller's shoulders of these bad contracts, how much of that was with Zeigler.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And listen, again, Peter Zeigler also had to approve and say, yeah. And clearly those two were in conjunction with how they thought about things. But the real reason why the Padres have to do what they're doing today is because these bad contracts that are not off their books. Because I actually don't know if Preller would do business the way he does today if it wasn't for every year he's already got X amount of dollars already committed to the team, and he's got a lot less maneuvering that he can do.
That's a good point. It is. I mean, it's an interesting exercise. It really is. And I'm sure it's what we'll be doing throughout the course of the second half of the year. Let's talk about one of the acquisitions Preller made at the deadline. Robbie Ray, frontline starter from San Francisco, will make his Padres debut tomorrow night. We'll catch up with Alex Pavlovic, NBC Bay Area on the other side. Mark Ziegler's on the show as well from the UT at 4:30.
We got a lot to hit on with him.
We got Chucky Lozano potentially
on his way. SCFC chatter there.
To the LA Galaxy, plus a settlement between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. Big 4 o'clock hour coming up. Alex Pavlovic from the NBC Bay Area affiliate joins us next on Schaefer and Sliwa.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for the final game of their series tonight in Arizona. It's going to be Walker Buehler going for the Padres and Cole Drake going for the Diamondbacks. First pitch is set for 6:40. A couple days ago, Bijan Robinson was the highest paid running back in NFL history, and not anymore. The Lions and running back Jahmyr Gibbs have agreed on a 3-year, $67 million extension, which could be worth up to $75 million, with $51 million guaranteed. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago, and only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer and San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. Your Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, hour 2 here. Schaefer and Sliwa. Big hour. Alan coming up. Alex Pavlovic will join us from NBC Bay Area.
I need a complete scouting report on Robbie Ray.
Well, you're going to get one. Yeah. That's exactly what you're going to get. We're going to talk about
He's going to ball out tomorrow.
Robbie Ray?
Quote my words on
or
this
Alex
one.
Pavlovic.
At Petco, his first debut, obviously a good pitcher.
So what are you telling me? What was he going to go, 7 innings?
No,
run?
he's going to go 6, giving up 1.
Let's talk to Alex Pavlovic about Robbie Ray, who's been traded.
We're already guessing his stat line.
We're guessing his line for tomorrow night, his Padres debut against Houston. All right, Alex Pavlovic covers the Giants for NBC Sports Bay Area with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. First of all, Alex, we appreciate you taking time for us in San Diego. Secondly, were you surprised or not that Ray ended up moving in division? All right, we don't have Alex. But we do, yeah, I see that. We have he's on the line, but we just don't hear him.
We'll try to get him here.
That's
in
problematic.
Just a second. Yep.
Because if you can't hear him.
I could guess what his answer
we can
is.
guess.
I mean, I could definitely guess his answer there.
I don't know if you heard the question, but we do have Alex Pavlovic, we believe, with us right now on 760.
Can you hear us, Alex?
You got us? All right. Well,
all right, now we got him.
Okay, we got him now. All good. Alex, we appreciate you taking time for us. Robbie Ray makes his Padres debut tomorrow. Were you surprised that he was traded in division?
No, I think when you're, 19 games under at this point, you probably don't really have a whole lot of concern about things like that. And look, no offense to you guys down there, but the Padres are not the Dodgers when it comes to the San Francisco Giants and where they might trade people. So I was not. I mean, I think he would have fit either San Diego or Arizona, and I don't think they had any concerns. I think they are very happy about the package they got back. And honestly, I was talking to some people about it down there when we were there the days before the trade deadline, and we all know up here, and Giants know that AJ is pretty aggressive, and so I do think that was a team that they were kind of looking at just as, potentially a team where you could get a pretty good deal from if you are willing to trade in division.
Well, first off, the Giants aren't the Dodgers either. Okay, so we both share that. No,
I don't. The Padres Dodgers rivalry you're trying to make happen. I don't know about that. But no, I know it's been a thing the last couple of years.
No, I'll say this, and listen, on the rivalry stuff, you got to win one, or you got to there has to be some real juice there. But I'll say this, and just to play off of what you just said there about Preller, that's interesting because we've kind of had that conversation before. Are teams more open to making deals with the Padres where maybe an in-division doesn't matter? Maybe all that stuff doesn't mean anything, but it more just kind of relies on the fact that people around the league know AJ Preller is willing to take chances. Is that pretty widespread there that, let's if we can do business with Preller and the Padres, maybe we can land one of their youngsters that can turn into something?
Well, I'll tell you, I think Buster is a little bit the same way, that he doesn't, every front office now is pretty much the same, and they're all kind of risk averse. And Buster doesn't really view it that way. I mean, he's just like, what do I need to do here? And that was, you saw that last year with the Rafi Devers trade. He was like, I don't care if it's June 15th, we're making this deal. So I think from their perspective, the last few weeks, they were a little frustrated because everyone was kind of like, wait to the deadline, wait to the deadline, wait to the deadline. And somebody like AJ, that he just also is kind of in the same vein. It's a different approach, but he's willing to make deals. And I think that is attractive to other front offices. Now, I don't think they've matched up a whole lot over the years. And we joke about the rivalry and joke about in division. Like, there have been years where they're much closer to the Padres and you don't want to make that deal. But I do think in a year like this year, when Giants season has been over for a long time and they're looking towards the future. And this was a case where I would guess that was a team that they targeted as one that you knew that AJ was going to do something, and you knew that he was willing to have serious conversations where some other teams might just ask for, something crazy just right off the bat and make you wait. But I think that helps when it comes to somebody like AJ.
Alex, what's the level of frustration with the Giants fan base specifically towards Posey? I know it hasn't been forever that he's been in charge of baseball operations, but it just feels like they've been middling for forever, even before him. The 107-win team, and then every team's a 500 team, and now the wheels have completely fallen off this year. So what's the reaction in terms of how this is playing out with Posey at the helm?
Yeah, I think it's just general frustration. I mean, I've been doing this since 2012. It's the weirdest year I've seen. And I've covered a 98 loss team. I've covered a bunch of 500 teams. There hasn't been a year like this where something happens every single week. And, I think we were in San Diego when the Harrison Bader stuff we were there last week when the Harrison Bader stuff all kind of comes to the forefront. This is a little bit different, but I mean, today Mike Krukow announces this is his final year. Like, it just seems like it is one thing after another for Giants fans. And if you are Buster Posey, you get caught up in that. And they didn't have a good offseason, and this team is 19 games under 500. So it has certainly changed. I think he had basically 100% approval rating here 2 years ago. Like, in the Bay Area, he was as close to it's like him and Steph Curry are up above everybody else. They're unimpeachable. And look, the reality of it, and he knew this when he took the job, is that if they don't win, if there are seasons like this, there's going to be some heat. So I think you've seen some of that. Now, he's still Buster Posey. And I think the other thing we saw during the trade deadline is one thing I just saw over and over from Giants fans is like, oh, Buster cooked today. Buster's cooking. So they really want to be there and really want to be on his side. But it was not an easy first 4 months of the season.
Alex, just to talk about, obviously Robbie Ray specifically, and if you follow the Padres at all, they've been just struggling with their starting pitching and a couple of injuries, guys that haven't panned out. So at the trade deadline, that was clearly obviously very, very important for Padre fans. And I know Robbie Ray's been in the league for a while now, but what are they getting in Robbie Ray, and what do you think we can expect the remainder of this season with him in the rotation?
I mean, they're getting someone who's been just grinding and competing for the last couple of months, and he's changed the way he pitches a little bit. It used to be more of like a 2-pitch guy. Now on some nights it's a 5-pitch mix, and it's a different approach. And he's walking a lot of guys, and there is some traffic, but he's just not giving up runs. I mean, it kind of snuck up on us when you looked at his last, I think, 8 or 9 starts. The ERA is right around 1.0, 1.05 or something like that. It didn't totally feel that way, especially because Logan Webb was pitcher of the month in June, and that kind of dominated the conversation in terms of pitching. But you look up and you're like, oh, Robbie just every 5 days is giving up 0 or 1 run. And it's not like, this isn't the Mize, this isn't just pure dominance, but he's just grinding and he's just not giving in to guys. He's, some of these innings get pretty long, some of the outings get pretty long, but I think he just has taken this approach. And it reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you guys remember Ryan Vogelsong when he was kind of at his prime, and he would just refuse to give in to a hitter. And you'd look up at the end of the day and Vogie went 6 innings, 2 runs, and you're like, man, that looked like it was hard, but he got it done. So I think that's what I'd say about Robbie. I know the advanced metrics are a little different than some of the other stuff the last few weeks, and I think his FIP's right around 4.5 or something like that. But he's been grinding. He's been finding a way to get through these. And look, he's a veteran who's been doing this a really long time. And I think all of that kind of veteran savvy and knowledge that he's picked up over the years is coming out.
Alex, final one for me. Alex Pavlovic, by the way, with us. He covers the Giants for NBC Sports Bay Area. It's just, how do you look at this wild card race? Obviously, San Francisco's not in it, but from afar, covering the division, you look at Arizona, you look at San Diego. Who would you bet on in a horse race if it comes down to those 2 clubs?
I would bet on San Diego. I mean, I haven't been. This is going to sound rude to them because I don't know if the Giants have beat the Diamondbacks this year or have 1 win against them this year. But I just, whenever I'm there, you don't see it as much. And I think one thing that I've felt the last couple of years, and I remember writing about this early last year, is just the bullpen in San Diego is such an equalizer to everybody. And I give you guys a hard time about the rivalry, but like I can actually see San Diego being a team that could beat the Dodgers in the postseason if they get there because of the bullpen and because of the Giants just saw it over the weekend, and they saw how those games just kind of the life gets choked out of them. And I know they've talked about it a lot the last couple of years and looked over there and been like, it's essentially a 6-inning game. So I do think that's where I would put the edge. And I think it looks like some of the guys are coming around. Tatis, I know, has come around a little bit. So that's who I would give the edge to. And honestly, I also love what they're doing with the pitching. I mean, we kind of have seen this at times in San Francisco, and you know, it worked a little bit under Farhan Zaidi and Gabe Kapler when it was going right. Like I don't know if they're referring it to as pitching chaos there or bullpen games or whatever they're calling it, but just this kind of trying to get through every single day and figuring out the next day. So from what I've seen, and we've seen both teams quite a bit, I think San Diego's a little bit better. But I don't know. This has been a weird year. It's from our perspective here in San Francisco, like we see all these teams, and I really have not been like blown away by that many teams in the National League. So I think they're right there.
Alex, final one, and really appreciate your time. We always get a perspective, and I think from the NL West, we had a guest on for covers the Rockies, had a guest on recently covers the Diamondbacks, and for teams and cities a part of the NL West, obviously we know what we're going up against with the Los Angeles Dodgers. What do Giants fans want to see in this offseason? Is there I know there isn't one clear-cut answer here, but is there interest in a salary cap? What do they feel like could kind of even the playing field a little bit, or do they like it as is? Is there kind of a consensus up there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's much concern here about, the Dodgers spending as much as maybe there is in other places. And I think it's because it's been such a long-running rivalry, and it doesn't really matter. Like, they get Scooble, and Giants fans are like, whatever, we've hated you for 50 years anyway. So it's not that big a deal. I think in terms of the spending stuff and in terms of, the salary floor or salary cap, whatever comes in, I think Giants fans mostly are just a little bit annoyed that the Giants don't spend more in general. So whatever kind of gets them there. I mean, they're not selling out every night like the Padres, but they're not far away. They're at 37,000 with a bad team every single night. And I think most Giants fans remember the heyday here and when they were selling out for, 700, 800 straight games, and when they were a top 5 spender in Major League Baseball. So I think just in general, they want to get them back to that point. The one thing I've just heard a little bit, and I kind of agree with it, is I don't think Giants fans would hate a salary floor because there are 3 big salaries here that a lot of fans would like to get rid of. And maybe that causes other teams to spend and take some of them on. But that seems like, a very niche reason to be into something like this. I honestly, it's been such a rough season that I don't even think the lockout stuff has registered as much as it probably does elsewhere.
Alex, great perspective. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you, man.
And we'll remember you saying that the Padres are going to beat the Dodgers in the postseason. I know you didn't say that, but I might say you said it. But appreciate you joining us here.
Mason Miller throw 3 innings at a time, and you'll be fine.
3?
So, yeah.
9.
Come on. He's a former starter. Let him go out there.
There you go.
So.
That's right. In the Bay Area with Oakland. Appreciate it, Alex.
Guys.
Thanks so much,
Thank you,
man. All right, Alex Pavlovic, Bay Area in San Francisco.
I was expecting that answer. That's interesting.
He's like, well, when I think about Cap in San Francisco, I'm like, it's a massive market. It's a huge baseball market. They have crazy resources. They have drawn. They're a big American city.
And it's also different, too, like the way there is a little bit of like, wait a minute, we could stick our chest out as well. They can. And I'm talking about over the past 15 years or whatever the case is.
With the World Series.
Where maybe here it's like, we can only say so much.
In the last 5 years, and I don't have all the examples in front of me, we got a break. The Giants have tried to spend and sometimes been denied in free agency. They can't get free agents to sign there. And they've tried to spend. They'll overspend. They can't always land the players, though. All right, Mark Zeigler is going to join us coming up at 4:30. If you landed the best available basketball card in the world today,
Jesus,
what would you do with it? Because the Dallas Mavericks have an offer for you. We'll discuss that coming up on the other side. Plus, Chucky Lozano to Los Angeles. What's the impact on SDFC? All that ahead here on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, live performances by the Goo Goo Dolls, Kenny Chesney, Lainey Wilson, Snoop Dogg, Weezer, and more, September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday for you to win your trip. 4-2 plus $1,000 in spending money. We've got your first chance to win starting Monday at 9 a.m.
All right, I'm looking forward to connecting. We're looking forward to connecting with Mark Zeigler coming up in 10 minutes. So Mark will join us in 10 minutes. We should mention this hour, Alan.
Yeah.
Let's give away 311 tickets this hour.
Let's do it.
That's coming up August 19th, which is what? 2 weeks. What is today?
Today's the 6th.
So in 13 days.
In 13 days, that's correct. Because if you take
carry the one, if you have divide.
And if you're looking at the calendar, there's just, if you count the days,
it's right in
technically 13 days.
We'll give away 311 tickets coming up later this hour. So
I got which one are you doing?
I'm going to the basketball card, but you go where do you want to go?
Can I have you save the basketball card till 45?
4:45.
Yeah.
Pacific?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that stood out in that conversation with Alex there? Alex Pavlovic.
We have the same thing.
That covers the Giants.
We have the same thing.
Do we?
Yes. Of course. 3, 2, 1, just say, wait, hold on.
Okay, but 3, 2, 1, you got to just say the main thing. Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1, Dodgers. No, he said I could see how they could beat the Dodgers in a playoff series. That gets my ears up.
Yeah, that should have been mine, actually. Of everything he said,
that's way more important than Preller.
Here's what stood out to me, and then you can go. The Preller piece, to me, it's like, how many teams want to do business with Preller? And there's a reason for that.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I don't look at that as a compliment.
Not anymore, maybe.
Honestly, I don't look at it as a compliment because teams get out there, they could be looking at, if we do business with AJ Preller, I think there was the Diamondbacks were also in, if I'm correct on this, I think they were also in on Robbie Ray. Either they were in on Robbie Ray or Casey Mize. I can't remember.
Mize.
Okay, they were also in on Casey Mize, right? Are you surprised or shocked that Detroit's like, no, I'll take the Padres offer?
No.
And I say that because he's willing to give up more. Completely makes sense. If I'm negotiating out there, if I'm doing a deal, I want to do business with the guy that I feel like there's a higher return on. And AJ Preller could have a history right now of like, hey, do business with that organization, because he's more willing to give up youngsters and take bigger chances, and that could be a better return for us. That stood out to me.
That stood out to me too.
And that to me is, it's not a compliment. Like let me give you an example. It's not a good one, but I'll do my best to do this. If I'm in the NBA, you know who I'm not doing business with? I'm not doing business with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's too good of a GM that understands too much over there, and he's running circles around the league. I don't want to do business with him.
But you are doing business with.
I'll do business with Rob Pelinka.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's not Pelinka, but you know what I'm talking about. There's certain GMs out there that might have a track record where you're like, I think this guy, understands. The fact that the whole Padres, I don't care if I'm trading within the division. That's AJ Preller over there.
And it's also a rental. Like if you were giving up someone with 3 years of control that could hurt you along the way in division, that's one thing. This season ends and Robbie Ray's a free agent, and the Giants aren't making the postseason either way. So you could literally trade with the LA Dodgers if you wanted to.
But I don't think they would.
They wouldn't.
I don't think they would. But I think just, again, this is back to I got some interest because AJ Preller's there. But now you go on your point, because I think your point, of course, that's very interesting too.
When I hear an independent observer like Alex Pavlovic in the Bay Area say, the reason I kind of like the Padres is like they're positioned to even beat maybe the big bad mighty Dodgers in a series because of their bullpen. This is like the grand plan of AJ Preller that's never worked. He built this unbelievable bullpen in 2024, Alan, that he couldn't utilize with the season on the line. Games 4 and 5 against LA. He built this. He doubled down. Mason Miller, 2025. Guess what? They're trailing in game 3. Their offense never comes to life. You can't unfurl Mason Miller in game 3. It's not possible. You can't start the game with him, I guess. Therefore, he never pitches in a tie or with a lead. And here we are again with this unbelievable bullpen ready to be on display. And will it be capable of breaking through or not in 2026? I think that's what Alex was saying. Like, hey, I know they've struggled a little bit, but their bullpen's an equalizer.
It's funny what he said. He's like, we just saw it against the Giants. Like they will what do you say, squeeze the whatever he said, like they'll
Make it a
just kind of put
6-inning
you in
game.
a chokehold, whatever the case is. But the problem, I think then, and I'll go back to something we talked a little bit about yesterday. Do the Padres making the postseason or making a postseason run, how much of that is on your starting pitching? How much of that is on your bullpen? How much of that is on your offense? Because the way they've lost games in the postseason was their lack of offense. They lost in 2024, they lost because of their lack of offense in the final 2 games. They lost to the Cubs last year in the wild card because of their lack of offense in the totality of that 3-game set. And did AJ Preller put his attention towards something? Now, I don't think he had a choice because of starting pitching. I mean, that's just, it was too wide of a gap here. Like, you're not making a playoff push with the starting pitching that they had, but will their offense come through enough to actually give you a chance to hand games over to your bullpen?
We'll get back to it. On the other side, Mark Zeigler from the UT on Chucky Lozano likely joining the LA Galaxy plus the settlement. He's spoken with sources about the terms between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, the impact on San Diego State. Mark Zeigler from the UT joining us next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for Game 4 of their series tonight in Arizona. It's going to be Walker Buehler going for the Friars and Cole Drake going for the Diamondbacks. First pitch is set for 6:40. We had a big NFL signing today. The Lions and running back Jahmyr Gibbs agreed on a 3-year, $67 million extension with a possibility of it being worth up to $75 million with 51 guaranteed. That makes him the new highest paid running back in NFL history, replacing Bijan Robinson from earlier this week. Running business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago, and only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. Always great to reconnect with Mark Zeigler, who does such a good job reporting for the UT. In a number of areas, including on what's played out here recently between the Pac-12 and the Mountain West. Mark publishing some of the first information as it relates to the terms of that deal. So, Mark, as always, we appreciate you taking time. For our listeners that haven't followed the story or aren't fully aware, you reported on potential terms of the settlement. In your opinion, did the Pac-12 come out in a favorable position, or how do you see it?
You know, it's interesting. A lot of people have been talking about who won this, and because it's sports, right? We always want a winner or a loser. I mean, it's probably a little bit more like soccer, and it's a tie. I mean, it's hard to gauge because on the one hand, you look at it, and the Pac-12 was looking at $155 million total in exit fees and poaching fees between the 5 schools who left in exit fees and then Oregon State and Washington State in poaching fees. And they're going to pay somewhere, I'm going to say, between 70 and 75 million when it's all said and done. And so you can say, wow, they really, they did well. That's less than half. On the other hand, the Mountain West is going to get between 70 and 75 million dollars infused that they're going to into the conference. They're going to redistribute to its members and help them, with whatever they want to do, rev share, facilities, help their football and basketball teams that they might not otherwise have had, and particularly with the scheduling deal that Oregon State and Washington State signed that included those poaching fees. If Oregon State and Washington State don't sign that, then the Pac-12 is getting zero right now. So they're going to get in the low 20 millions just from that poaching fee. So on that side, it looks like it's a win for them. It's just a marriage gone bad. In the perfect world, none of this money would be changing hands, and you'd have one big conference. But we don't, and that's the reality we live in.
Mark, what do you feel about where the Pac-12 sits today, and just obviously San Diego State part of it, and what you think the future can hold? Just how do you feel about the conference overall?
Well, it's a step up. It's not a giant step up. You have a lot of the same team. It's sort of Mountain West 2.0 in many respects. I don't know that Oregon State and Washington State moved the needle. They at the time. When they first moved, they sort of had the stench of power conference, but they're 2 years removed from that, and we've kind of seen what they are, which are mid-major programs that were in the power conference, and now they're not, and now they're acting and winning and losing like mid-major programs, maybe even a little bit lower. So I don't know that joining them really adds much, but the TV deal is a little bit better, and in the long run, this will be better for San Diego State and the schools that are in it. And I think these exit fees not being as high as they could have been helps them get to that point where it's a net gain. And it's going to take 3 or 4 years for that to happen. But instead of it being a wash or maybe losing some money, they are going to probably actually gain some money depending on how the TV contracts shake out.
Mark, just one quick follow-up to that. In a perfect world, 3, 4, 5 years from now, what's the Pac-12 look like? Let's just be as optimistic as possible. What do you think can happen to the Pac-12? They're obviously very, very lean right now as far as schools go. What do you think that can be?
I mean, they get somebody from the American, a Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, the schools they went after originally. They can somehow get them to change their minds, although their exit fees are exorbitant. They want to go through the whole legal fight. And maybe out of UNLV. Particularly given how good its football program is trending right now. But beyond that, there's not a whole lot in the next 3 or 4 years that can really happen. The big movement, I think, will come in 6 years when the terms for both the Mountain West and the Pac-12 and a bunch of other conferences, and college football goes through all those spasms of realignment once again. And maybe in a perfect world, some of these teams can end up in a quote-unquote power conference. But for the time being, I think this is what we're going to see for a while. Maybe they add a school or two, but I just don't think there's a lot out there that really adds value, particularly from the TV standpoint. And if you can't add value from the TV standpoint, there's no point in adding an extra mouth to feed.
Mark Zeigler from the UT with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. I'm curious, Mark, to get your thoughts on, and this is kind of speculative because the legislation hasn't even been passed, but if this College Sports Act is passed, this whatever it's called, Protect College Sports Act is passed, what's the impact specifically on San Diego State?
Well, there's various iterations of it, and it keeps changing almost by the day, and it could change again, when it hits the voting floor just to get it passed. So it's hard to say what it will look like. As it is now, I think it will lock them into mid-major status or group of 6 status. I think that was going to happen anyway, so I don't think that's too impactful. I think, if it can control spending in some way, shape, or form with the biggest schools, it helps them because it just keeps that gap from growing. Example with the basketball program, last year they had about $3 million in NIL/revenue sharing, and this year they're probably closer to $5 million, which sounds like, wow, they really went up, quite a bit. Well, programs they're competing against, which is, the top of Division I, went from maybe 10 or 12 to 20. And so if that kind of spending can be somehow reined in, and I'm not confident it can be or will be, plus there could be litigation even if this thing passes, then it's a good thing for San Diego State. But if it doesn't and sort of keeps the status quo, I don't think it changes anything. And they're just going to have to sort of accept the reality of where they're at in the world of college sports.
Mike Zeigler, part of the UT San Diego, taking some time to join us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa Show. Mark, I'm going to flip it here a little bit. Got a couple soccer questions that we want to ask you. Last time I think you and I connected, it was in the middle of the World Cup. You were basically telling everybody to pump the brakes on Mexico and the U.S., and you were right about that. Got to the round of 16, and both of them lost. As we obviously kind of flip the script now, and the attention goes back to the MLS. What does it mean of these reports here that SDFC's Chuck Lozano to sign with the LA Galaxy on a loan? What does that mean from your perspective? Are you surprised by it? Just give us your thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, this is really dragged on. It's been really unfortunate because it seemed like the perfect marriage. You had a Mexican player in a market that was hungry for a team and for a face of the franchise. He served that. And you look at their attendance in the first year, and you look what they were able to do in terms of marketing and also in winning. He played a big part of that. And I don't think people should forget that. But his personality didn't mesh, obviously, with the coach and the concept and the philosophy of the team. It's really a team first. It's not built around individuals. And so in that respect, he came before the coach was hired, before the GM was hired, and it just wasn't a fit. And I think at this point, he has not played since last November, since January. He's just been practicing by himself on the side. He hasn't been on any active rosters. And at this point, you just got to unload him. Whatever it costs you, you need to get out from under that. And I think it's hard to say it's a direct cause of their season this year, going from, first in the Western Conference to 12th or 13th is what I think they are now.
Yeah.
It's not just because of this thing, but it's a distraction, let's face it. And so if you can get him moved on, I think you can kind of move out from that shadow. And I think that's what this is all about. It's kind of cutting your losses. It's going to cost them a ton of money. It's not a permanent thing, but it's something. And at this point, anything is good.
Is there reasons for optimism, Mark, in terms of STFC on field in the second half? There's still so much soccer in front of them, but to your point, they are right now alone in 13th place. This was a team at the top of the Western Conference, obviously, a year ago. Are there legitimate reasons to expect them to make a second half run or not?
I think so. I actually have been a little encouraged with how they played lately. They had that run where they were getting a red card in every game. Yep. Red card in soccer is almost death. It's going to guarantee you a loss and maybe you eke out a tie, but it's not going to be good. And that string of 7, 8, 9 red cards cost them just tons of points in the standings. They haven't had a red card in a while now. or they've had one in their last 8 or 9 games. I don't know what the stat is, but I think that is progress right there, and you start to see what this team can be. Adding Elias Achuri, the Tunisian player they just got from FC Copenhagen in Denmark, he's a left winger. He fills that void left by Chucky. They've tried some other bodies there. They've been hurt, haven't been as productive. I think that gives them an option on the left side and kind of counterbalances Anders Dreyer on the right, so teams can't just focus their entire defensive strategy on him and take him away. And so I think there is, the standings are pretty bunched. You just got to finish in the top 9 and get in a play-in game, and then it's a playoff from there. And so I think there's optimism. I think they can actually get into the playoffs, but they're going to have to start moving. The schedule gets a little bit tougher. But moving Chucky on and having another designated player come in, those are all steps in the right direction. Mikey Vars is a really good coach. They have some good players. They have a unique system. So I think they can do it. But they just can't have any more bad luck or red cards or anything like that. The margins are pretty thin now.
Mark, final one for me. I'm just curious, how important is it? They built such unbelievable momentum in their first year in their inaugural season. And, as you get into the second season and we're looking at the standings, just how critical is it, do you think, for them to make the postseason? Just to kind of, like you mentioned, continue that momentum in SD. And we know those games were incredibly fun last year at Snapdragon Stadium. And most importantly, they were in some real playoff games. Just how important is that, you think?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, they I think, to be the type of club that they sort of envision themselves being or becoming, and that's a team that's in the playoffs every year, competing every year, very much like LAFC, which Tom Penn, the CEO, also founded. And the vision isn't just to be another MLS team and fill up the numbers. It's to be a competitive team, to be active internationally, international tournaments in terms of international transfers. And so, going from first in the Western Conference and to the Western Conference final to out of the playoffs is not what you want to see if that's the type of team you're going to be. And so I think it is really important. And you've seen attendance slip this year for a number of reasons, partly Chucky, partly the way they did tickets, partly raising ticket prices, partly the novelty wearing off. And so the crowds are down a little bit. And so it's, you want to sort of reverse that as quickly as possible and get that feeling back. I think they're a really quality organization and gone about things the right way. But, at the end, we all know what San Diego is. You got to win. And that's, if you don't win,
sure, fans
are really, really fickle here. And so I think this is a really crucial month or two for this franchise. Last year was sort of no one had any expectations. Well, now you have expectations.
Mark, before you go, the Europeans for San Diego State and Brian Dutcher, we've been waiting, right? What is the latest? We've been waiting for forever. I mean, you and I specifically, someone to kind of cover the program. What is the expectation, and when will it be resolved either way?
Yeah, nobody has any idea. I mean, I talked to Brian Dutcher just a couple days ago about this. I mean, I talked to him every week for the last month about this, and he gives me the same answer. He goes, I have no idea. My guess, and this is just me, is that the NCAA screwed up by sort of putting out this new interpretation that they're going to enforce these rules about Euros, trying to cut back on the number of real high-level pros in college basketball. They screwed up by announcing that in May. They should have just said, you know what, do it in September after they're all cleared and say, look, this is it.
Yep.
We're not doing this next year. But they didn't do that, and all these players already signed. And now they're getting all this blowback, and I just don't see any way they start declining eligibility for these players, because a lot of programs like an LSU and I mean everywhere you turn would have serious holes in their roster. San Diego State among them. I mean, these are 3 really key players, and so I don't think they'll do that. I think what their sort of revenge is, we're just going to slow play it. You're just going to have to wait. And you might get your players in September. You might get them in October. You'll probably get them. But, they keep having meetings and just kicking the can down the road. And so that's my guess. I'm confident they'll get cleared, at least 2 of them. One of them may be a little dicey, but I think they'll all get cleared. Maybe 1 or 2 has to sit out a game. There's a small penalty. but they'll ultimately have them all. It's just a question of when and how quickly can they get them integrated into the system. And that's a real question because San Diego State for years has been a culture program that's relied on players that have been there 2 or 3 years or 4 years and played defense and just played with the same vigor and played as hard as they can. It's just the expectation is there, and it's hard to build that overnight, and they're kind of having to do that overnight. So that's going to be the big question for me. I don't think the talent is a question. I think it's more the cohesion.
Great perspective. Mark, appreciate
Awesome
you taking
stuff,
time
Mark.
for us. We'll do it again soon. Hope all is well, and thanks.
Should we ask some politic questions?
No,
I mean,
no
he hit on
politics
everything
today, Mark. But
he hit on everything for us.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we're all over the map today. That's great.
That was
I love
great.
it.
We appreciate it.
All right, Mark Zeigler from the UT. We react. Plus, what would you pay for the best trading card available in sports right now? We'll discuss coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, teachers make a difference each and every day. Now's your chance to say thank you. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who goes above and beyond for students. They could be one of our $5,000 winners for classroom supplies and resources. Teachers give us so much. Now it's our turn to give back. Nominate a teacher now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
We are giving away 311 tickets to see 311 in 5 minutes. Be listening for your chance to win those tickets to see 311 on August 19th. All right, there's a brand new card set out, Alan. Topps trading card set called Topps Chrome Update.
You
all right?
lost it when you saw this.
I was excited when I said it.
Yeah.
So this set of cards has some of the biggest quote-unquote chase cards in like modern trading card history. So what does that mean? You can find cards in these packs that have a debut patch in them of players like Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper. So these like the first ever game that Cooper Flagg played in had a special NBA debut patch. They've taken that patch, put it in a trading card. This card could be easily worth $1 million. I think it's going to be worth more than that, Cooper Flagg specifically. So the Mavericks have put a bounty out for the card, the Dallas Mavericks organization, and said that if you find this card, we will trade you that one-of-one Cooper Flagg NBA debut patch card for this. 2 tickets for 32 seasons in the lower level. 2 season tickets for 32 seasons. You'll get a game-worn rookie jersey signed by Cooper Flagg. You'll get a post-game photo op. You'll get a private photo shoot with trophies. You'll get a VIP tour of their facilities. You'll get a basketball experience for up to 10 at their arena. You'll get to go on a road trip with the Mavericks to Boston. You'll get airfare. You'll get accommodations. Would you take that?
So 32 years representing Cooper Flagg's 32, so at least his number.
Dude, 32 years of NBA season
That's
tickets at low levels, a ton of money, right?
That's a lot. Yeah.
Like, throw out a number. Let's say that's, $10,000 of tickets a year. I'm just making that up. Times 32, that's 320
much
grand.
more than 10 G's.
Okay, so 20 grand, 25 grand a year times 32 is, well, that's $600,000-$700,000 right there or more. And it goes up over the next 30 years. So would you take that if you were a Mavericks fan, maybe, or would you just take like $1 million or the highest bidder or whatever you can get for it?
Let me ask you this. Can I take those season tickets and can I pay my rent through the season tickets? Now, maybe hey, you could sell them.
Yeah.
Right? Like if that's how you want to look at it. But I don't think there's any experience you can offer me where I'm taking the experience over the cash. We're talking about $1 million.
Yeah, or more.
So, I mean, even if somebody, okay, let's just use $1 million. Even if somebody's like, hey, I'm just going to take the mill. I'm not touching it for 32 years and I'm just investing it.
Turns in a lot of money.
And you could just, try to do it that way. So that's a tough one. Now, you got to be a crazy, crazy Mavs fan to be like, hey, yeah, I don't care about the card. By the way, you know who's going to end up getting it? Somebody who's not a Mavs fan.
Of course.
And somebody who probably doesn't even live anywhere near Dallas.
I hope it's me. So I have 3 boxes of this new set right here.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you open it?
So
or
Cooper,
you still can't open it?
There could be $1 million in here right now.
Let's get that thing open.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So what do you do? So will you actually? I guess that's the answer.
I will open the packs
because a lot of people will not open up packs, right? Like
they won't open boxes. It could turn into a $500 investment. Could be $5,000 or more, right? Because some chase card is in there potentially.
Right.
So Flagg's card is never found, or if it takes a while, the price of these unopened boxes goes up.
That's why I didn't understand that, dude. There was a bounty on it. It was the Shohei one. He sold it right away. Now listen, he probably just said, "I'm getting 10 mil. What the hell? I don't need anything else. I get 10, 11 mil, and I'll move on." But yeah, it just feels like the smart thing to do is hold on to that Cooper Flagg card if you got it.
I agree.
Hold on to that Shohei card if you got it.
I agree. What do you got, Brett?
Lower level tickets for season tickets for Mavs games range from $3,500 to $6,000 per seat annually. So if you get 2 of them, if they're the good seats, it'd be about $1,200, $12,000 a season.
$12,000 a season.
Yeah. But here's the other thing I would want. I'd want courtside. Like they're saying lower level. I need to.
I want Cuban's old seats.
Yeah, I want first 2 rows. Let's say
there ain't no seats.
No
Dallas Mavericks experience that you're going to give me that is going to get me to not try to get the proper finances for that Cooper Flagg ticket.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, here's the question.
Mhm.
Do you think that the Mavericks offer was better than that lowball offer, pun intended, that the Dodgers offered for Shohei's
remember
50th?
that.
Remember they offered the fan $300,000 and then he said no, took the ball to auction and got $4.3 million.
How about that?
I didn't even know that story.
Yeah, he got 15 times more than they offered for the ball.
And initially they offered him like bats and stuff. They didn't even
you
offer
get
him
3
money.
bats and an autograph. He's like, what?
Can I tell you something? I think I've had this conversation when I was doing LA radio. I think this came up
Yeah.
in a conversation. Maybe it was this. I don't know. I
Probably
don't even
was.
know which one it was. But when people are like, I'm just with all due respect here, when a monumental moment happens, and you got that baseball that could be worth something.
Yeah, don't take the
And
immediate.
people are saying like, when people are saying like, oh, just give it back. I'm sorry, brother.
Just give it back.
Major League Baseball and these players and the amount of money, I'm cashing out. I don't know what you want me to tell you. And if you want to look at me in a different way, there's only a few opportunities you might get in your lifetime where an opportunity like that literally falls in your lap, and it could be a baseball worth millions. We'll give you some bats. Shut your ass up. Don't give me some bats.
It's well
I'm
said.
trying to get paid.
It's well said. I completely agree with you. All right, we'll see if I'm $1 million richer, maybe on the other side if I open these up. We'll get to the wrap coming up next, but we did promise you tickets to see 311. Caller 3, you are going. A free 4-pack of tickets to see 311 August 19th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. If you want those free tickets, a 4-pack, call 877-767-4760. But you need to call right now. Caller 3, you've got a free 4-pack of tickets to see 311. The wrap coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by Lowe's. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for the final game of their series tonight in Arizona. It's going to be Walker Buehler going for the Friars and Cole Drake going for the Diamondbacks. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. In NFL news, a couple days ago, Bijan Robinson of the Falcons was the highest paid running back in NFL history. Not anymore. Now the Lions and running back Jahmyr Gibbs have agreed on a 3-year, $67 million extension, which could be worth up to $75 million with incentives, and $51 million of that is guaranteed. And then on a smaller scale, Jonathan Taylor and the Colts agreed on a 2-year extension worth $44 million today. Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it in and get a quote in minutes. Plus, access thousands of products beyond what's in store or on the Lowe's.com. Right from the Lowe's Pro Desk.
It's Schaefer and Sliwa. Sean Schaefer. San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. Your Schaefer and Sliwa.
All right, final hour here on Schaefer and Sliwa. We do have a great giveaway for you this hour. Be listening for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. In fact, here's how to win them. Open up the iHeartRadio app right now. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click the talkback mic.
I got the question.
And tell us.
Where are you going?
I was just going to say, tell us why you want to go to the concert.
How about this? How about we had a conversation about AJ Preller a little bit earlier. What does AJ Preller and the Padres need to accomplish the remainder of the year for you to say, yeah, it's not even a discussion of whether Preller his job should be on the line? I think we've had so much this past week about the Padres and obviously about their situation and the trade deadline and everything else. Dropping something in that talkback microphone about your thoughts on AJ Preller and what the Padres got to accomplish the rest of the year.
All right, open up the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click that red talkback mic. We'll announce a winner this hour of a 4-pack of tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean August 16th. That's at Petco Park, by the way. A great giveaway. What do the Padres need to do regarding, well, their second half, I guess, as it comes to AJ? What's the question? What is the question we're asking?
What do you need to see from the Padres the remainder of the year to, again, just make the case for or against AJ Preller?
All right, write that down so I remember the rest of the hour. I've already forgotten it.
I got you.
All right, right now, let's get to this.
Don't worry.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
How would you feel if the Padres win tonight as opposed to if they lose?
It seems like such a swing game of how you feel about kind of the start of this, the rest of the season. You got the trade deadline that was on Monday. You knew you had a 4-game set against the Arizona Diamondbacks. John, if they win tonight, I feel good about where they're sitting, just a game out. You're going to start getting, I know it didn't go as planned yesterday, but Robbie Ray tomorrow. Potentially some health in your favor the rest of the season or at some point in August. If you lose tonight, you lose 3 or 4 out of the trade deadline. You're now 3 back of the division, and you're in real true risk of losing the tiebreaker against the team that you probably feel like it's going to come down to for that final wildcard spot in the Diamondbacks. It feels like a massive, massive game and a massive swing of how we feel about the team.
Completely agree. It is. And they will turn to Walker Buehler as a stopper tonight. I've been impressed by Arizona. Heading into the series, they were playing well, and they have looked good, which is concerning to me. This, by the way, is an even money line in Vegas tonight between San Diego and Arizona. A complete coin flip game that means so much for both teams. I'm not going to feel great if they lose this game. I'm not. I am not going to feel good about their standing if they lose this game. So this is a very important August game tonight. Next question.
Well, the Aztec football team averaged 30 points per game or more this season. Last year, they averaged 26.5.
Year before, 21.
And they're supposed to ball out on offense this year.
Their offense has 7 starters back. Just a lot.
And a lot of weapons.
Yep.
I'm going to say they're under. 30 is a lot in college. Now, listen, 30 in college is much more doable than it is in the NFL.
Exactly.
But I'll say under. Listen, it's impressive to get around that mark. I mean, if they're hovering around that 30-point mark. I mean, are you upset at them averaging 28 a game? That sounds it would be a great accomplishment. But I'll go under just because I think that's a challenge. Now, maybe I'll feel a lot different a couple weeks in, but I'd love to see it.
Last year, they relied so heavily on their defense. They didn't need 30 points a game. Their defense was so good. They had 3 shutouts last year. That led the nation, FBS football. This year, I think they'll need to score probably at a better clip. And since they scored, what'd you say, Brian, 26.5 points? I'll take the over, man. It's not going to be easy. I'm with you.
All right.
They scored 47 points in their bowl game loss to North Texas, 49-47. But I will take the over for Sean Lewis's offense this year.
Before I looked it up, I was like, oh, no way. But then I was like, oh, they averaged, that's only 3.5 more points than last year. So I was like, it's doable.
But they did also, but one of the caveats there was the 47-point game against North Texas. Otherwise, they would have been a point or two lower. Next question.
Will you guys be watching the Hall of Fame game tonight?
I'm not there yet, brother. I'm not there. I'm just not there yet. You know, NFL, and to be honest with you, it's going to really take for the regular season for me. I'm not going to watch preseason games. I mean, when the Chargers were here, that'd be different. I would watch preseason games and specifically for them. But since they left, I ain't doing preseason games. But once the NFL starts, listen, it's king and it's Goliath, and there's still other teams that are interesting to watch. So I'll watch, but I ain't watching on August 6th.
So the first regular season game is September 9th, which is still over a month away.
We'll wait till September 9th.
And for me, I really like the first 2 college weeks come and go before you even start the NFL. Week 0 is in late August. Week 1 is September 5th, roughly. So let me ease into the college football season. And then all of a sudden there's a Wednesday night. That's the Wednesday game. Seattle's playing in it. They just won the Super Bowl. I'll be excited once Wednesday, September 9th gets here. I will be, but I'm with you. I don't need necessarily the 40-day ramp up.
By the way, I think for a lot of San Diegans, I think there is a little bit of just, I don't know. Listen, I can't speak for everybody, but from what I feel, it's like, yeah, when the actual regular season starts, we'll watch some of the NFC West is very interesting, right? Like even the AFC West, if you start looking at some of these other teams, but it's different. Let's put it that way.
Do we have another question?
Yeah.
Final question.
Yeah, we usually do 4. I
forgot if we did 3 or 4 already.
Are you guys bothered that Chucky Lozano is going to end up in LA?
It's a weird one. I think what Zeigler said about just this had to get settled. Here's the only thing that kind of sticks into my mind here, and I don't know which way is going to go, which I think actually makes the SDFC season more interesting. The Galaxy are sitting in a number 12 spot. SDFC is sitting at number 13.
Yeah.
And there is certainly going to be a push here for both of these squads to obviously just get into the postseason and see what happens. That matchup now with the Galaxy becomes a lot more interesting. How much of this becomes a Chucky Lozano story of, I wanted to be in SD, I wanted to be with SDFC, and it just, listen, San Diego's paying for him to be somewhere else. Like, what does that say to what that relationship was to both of these sides? Then you got the SDFC side. Maybe this is a motivating factor for them. We don't need you. Even if you went to LA, it is what it is. We're going to stick with the squad that we have. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch.
Well, I'll say this. If and when it's completed, and maybe it is, because The Athletic was reporting that it's going to be final at some point. Yeah. It's going to happen. I'll tell you what, I'll circle this moment, and I'm circling the Galaxy, and I'm circling SDFC. What happens now? What happens now? Because these teams, to your point, are vying for the same thing, which is to reach the postseason. They're within a point of each other. Does one trend in one direction? Does another trend in another? Or do they have a similar record from here on out? But it's kind of a fascinating development that I didn't consider necessarily how it would end with him playing in LA.
But doesn't that say everything? Like, it says everything. The fact that Chucky Lozano was at the absolute worst, he was going to sell you tickets. He was going to get people into the stadium at the worst. You could also make a case they're not, obviously, clearly they're not as good as they were a year ago. And not only are you still paying his $9+ million, whatever his total is, at least a portion of it. Yep. I don't know how all this works, but you're also okay with him going 2 hours up north to LA to go play for the Galaxy. I mean, that says everything of this kind of, I don't know if desperation is the right way to put it, but almost like we don't care. We've moved on as a franchise. We don't care what that scenario looks like. We just got to worry about ourselves. I kind of, I respect that from SDFC. Now, the real question is going to be, can you just put yourself in a position where you're getting some W's, getting some points there in the standings?
The Athletic reporting that San Diego will be on the hook for a portion
I saw
of
that.
his remaining salary.
Mm-hmm.
He is paid $9.33 million guaranteed. He is the fourth highest paid player in the league. The fourth highest paid player. Now, I thought Mark made an interesting point. Like, he hasn't played in a year. He has not played in any
Last
competition.
game he played was the playoff game, the Vancouver game, where SDFC lost in that playoff game. And I think he was, if I'm right, I think he's the one that scored the goal. He's the only goal that was, they lost 3-1 that game.
It's been a while, right? That was what, November?
Yeah, I think so.
And it's now August. So without competition for a year, what impact will that have? I mean, it's kind of a weird dynamic, was it not? I don't think it was talked about every single day among San Diego sports fans or here on 760, but it's kind of a weird situation. Not kind of a weird situation. Isn't it a bizarre situation that's played out?
Sure.
Now, I do think, by the way, he sold tickets. I think he helped lead the franchise into its debut season.
Absolutely.
And now from here, all right, it's like on to the next one. I think SDFC will be fine without Chucky Lozano, is my guess.
Well, Can I be honest with you? And listen, I'm not here to try to break it down, but we'll see, because they're not as good as they were last year, and they have been wildly inconsistent this season, and they have lost a lot of close games, and they've had kind of back-breaking losses. So,
but did he play much last year? Like, I thought he missed a lot of time last year. Like, they were so good all year, and I'd have to look it up. But I think he missed a good amount of time.
But he was definitely a part of their success. Sure, of course he was.
Yeah, I mean, he 22 matches. They played like 40. I mean, yeah, he had a good year. He had 9 goals last year for SDFC. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens for both SDFC and also for the LA Galaxy. We're going to hear from Craig Stammen hopefully coming up at some point this hour as the Padres get ready for Game 4 of their series. Also, we are giving away a 4-pack of tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean August 16th at Petco Park. Padres getting ready for a huge game tonight in the desert. We're getting you ready as well here on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, with the iHeartRadio app, you could stream us wherever you are 24 hours a day. Just search for San Diego Sports 760 to stream us live all day, every day. You can leave your comments for us just by using that talkback microphone. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want us to talk about. Make us a preset so we can pop up each time you open up that app, San Diego Sports 760, always live on the iHeartRadio app.
Let's continue this Preller conversation because it ties into our talkback mic, and then we can have the conversation as well. And again, the question on the talkback mic.
Should Preller's job be in jeopardy based off of what happens the rest of this season?
I like that. Okay.
Simplify it.
Should his job be in jeopardy based on what happens the rest of the year?
Mm-hmm.
Hit us up at the Talkback mic. Open the iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click the Talkback mic. Just by doing that, you're entered to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. We'll announce a winner of those tickets coming up this hour. It is an interesting question. On one hand,
it is a tough one.
4 playoff appearances in 6 years they've never done. Back-to-back 90-win seasons they had never done. But here we are. They're fighting, scratching, clawing just to get into the postseason now in 2026. And they've made moves at the deadline under the premise that they are a playoff team by adding Robbie Ray and Casey Mize. So if they miss out, who pays for it ultimately?
Yeah, I think that the Preller conversation is a lot more nuanced than just as simple as, we're looking at the totality of where the Padres are, what they've done, and I think more importantly, what it looks like moving forward. I think if AJ Preller, let's just say hypothetically, new ownership comes in and they say philosophically, we don't want to do business like that. That wouldn't be a crazy thing. Like business in the sense of we're looking at our books and we see a lot of contracts in here that are going to hurt the San Diego Padres for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at our farm system and we're seeing that it's one of the worst farm systems in all baseball. And now if you had got to a World Series or you cashed one in, something like that, then there's no conversation to be had, but that hasn't happened. So I think, with Preller, you can't have a conversation and say, well, if they don't make the postseason this year, then Preller's got to go. You're looking more at the big picture of philosophically who AJ Preller is. Is that how you want to do business? Are there enough bad contracts on the books where you're saying, brother, how are we going to get out of this over the next couple of years? Mm-hmm. It's much deeper than just, well, did they make the postseason or not?
Yeah, I would agree, but I would say this. I think it'll be very hard. He's not going anywhere. Would you agree with this statement? He's not going anywhere.
If they make the postseason?
If they make the playoffs.
I agree with you.
Because at that point, it's like you have the cover of having made the postseason 3 straight years.
Yeah.
It just seems like it would be a very odd scenario. Now, I agree with the premise that you then look under the hood if they miss the postseason and say, well, right or wrong, is this the person that should be leading the franchise? Why or why not? I could see that playing out. I still think the timing of his extension is curious because they knew they were selling this franchise to Jose Feliciano when he was extended. So was Jose Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones in on those conversations? They knew they were selling this franchise when he was extended. It happened in March of this year. So I don't know until we hear from Jose Feliciano. And I agree with you. I think it's nuanced. I don't think there's a guarantee he loses his job if they miss the postseason. I don't think there's a guarantee he's back if they miss the postseason.
Yeah, for me, it's just, let me ask you this question. Do you feel like do you like the position that the Padres are in for these next handful of years?
That's too hard to answer.
Is it that hard?
I think so.
I would say no. I'm not crazy about. I'm not crazy about the next couple of years because I do think there's some debt that's eventually going to be. You're going to have to eventually pay.
What's the impact of the CBA? What work can they do organizationally? Is Jose Feliciano the next Guggenheim Group? Does he not want to be that? Does he want to be the opposite?
Let's put it this way. Let's say I simplify it. There's all those other things you don't know, right? We'll see how all those end up. And I know those are obviously big factors. Somebody looking at the San Diego Padres today, are they looking at this thing and saying, based on the contracts that they have, the players that they have, just the situation, the farm system, selling out stadium, all that stuff. Like there's obviously a lot of good things with the Padres, but do you think that's a position where most people would be like, yeah, this is like you said, trending in the right direction?
No, I think it would be an easier case to make that their window existed. It's an
Yeah,
easier
that's all.
case to
That's
say that
the
they're
only
winning.
point I'm making. Yeah.
But with all that being said, it's so hard to look at 3 or 4 years, really, in any sport, including the Padres with baseball. So it could, in fact, be right. It could be harder for them to win in 2029 than today. Or, I mean, are they one move away from all of a sudden putting themselves in a position where they are a true contender by getting out from underneath one of these contracts? I don't know. But yes, it would be easier to say that they're trending down as opposed to trending up like they were, let's say, 5 years ago in 2020. But I'm not in a position today to say the Preller's job will be on the line either way. I don't know because I haven't heard from Jose Feliciano. So it's like it's so hard to know until I hear this man speak in front of the media to really. It's got to resonate what he says.
But I think, John, it's less about like I guess I'm saying that more from like your perspective, not necessarily because I know a new owner is going to come in and we have no idea stylistically what that new owner is going to want.
Here's how I look at it too.
Can I just say, I'd probably lean towards you with I'm still not, unless it was like this colossal failure the rest of the way and they're not even close to a wild card spot. Like maybe then that's kind of one of those, hey, this is probably a fireable offense. But I don't think Preller, I don't think I would say, well, Preller's got to go now. Like I would give Preller at least 1 year with new ownership to see how they would work together.
Here's how I look at it sometimes too. I don't know if this is the right way to look at it. I think if Preller loses his job, he gets a better job tomorrow. And I think the next general manager of the Padres is handcuffed by AJ Preller, to your point. If you're looking at the next 5 years, AJ Preller, it doesn't matter if he's running the team or Theo Epstein or me, because those contracts exist. So I think that the Padres job, and I've made this point before when people have talked about the idea of getting rid of AJ Preller, how good of a job is it?
How attractive is it for somebody else?
It might be very with the new ownership.
But it also might be difficult because of what you're saying.
So are you even getting your top pick or not? And then secondarily, is he all of a sudden going to be the next Yankees GM behind Brian Cashman? And for whatever that's worth, is he? There are people in baseball, and I've had this conversation with a number of guests over the years, that believe AJ Preller would have a GM job in a heartbeat if he ever left San Diego. And he may one day do it on his own fruition, by the way. Because at some point you've just been somewhere 15 years and like you just need to go your separate ways. So it's nuanced. I like how you put it there. It's nuanced.
Here's what I think Preller needs more than anything else, and maybe this is kind of a combination with the new ownership. He just needs a balance. Like I think Preller's better with, you got to work under these parameters. And I don't think there were parameters with him and Zeigler, right? I think there was just
go.
You only live once.
Right.
You know, there was kind of this mentality of let's just freaking go for it. And that's exactly what both of them did. And they kind of thrived together under that specific. But if Zeigler was still around, RIP to Peter Zeigler, if he was still around, we're going to be having completely different conversations. Maybe Juan Soto was still on this team. Maybe there were other ways that they were. But the problem is like these two were a tandem. And then unfortunately, Peter Zeigler passed away. And it was a completely different. It's like, don't spend another dime.
Yeah.
You know, it was, I don't want what he wanted. I don't even want this job. And that was John Zeigler. And then here we are sitting here today, and it's like, all right, what's this new ownership approach going to be like?
And we still, like, since Peter, have like no clear indication from like the ownership of the Padres.
Yeah.
We've heard nothing from John Zeigler. Now, of course, we haven't heard anything from the new ownership group either. All right, if we find the audio from Craig Stammen pregame, we will bring it to you. In addition, the biggest storyline during training camp in the NFL this year has nothing to do with someone currently on an active roster. And we'll explain that coming up on the other side. Giving away these tickets to see Jason Aldean and Luke Bryan as well here on Schaefer and Sliwa. San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres and Diamondbacks are getting set for the final game of their series tonight in Arizona. It's going to be Walker Buehler going for the Friars and Cole Drake going for the D-backs. First pitch tonight is at 6:40. In NFL news, Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs is now the new highest paid running back in the league. Him and the Lions agreed on a 3-year, $67 million extension today, with a possibility of it being worth up to $75 million. 51 of that is guaranteed. And then in Indianapolis, the Colts and Jonathan Taylor agreed on a 2-year extension worth $44 million. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
Schaefer and Sliwa here on this Thursday afternoon. Kevin Acee will join us, by the way, tomorrow. Jaden Denigal, Aztec starting quarterback, will join us tomorrow at 5:15. Year 2 for Jaden Denigal on the Mesa under Sean Lewis. You were talking about the Padres lineup. Gavin Sheets has been dealing with plantar fasciitis. Yeah. But he's back at the starting lineup here tonight.
Yeah, it says it was a quote out there Jeff Sanders, I think, put out in the UT. He's fine, or I'm fine. Yeah. He is back in the lineup. They got Xander batting 6th, and I want to say Sheets batting 7th in Arizona.
All right, so
how you watching this game tonight? What's your setup tonight?
Eyes. I'm gonna go eyes.
You doing eyes tonight?
I'm gonna go eyes.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. How are you?
Congratulations. I'll do a combo. A little bit of
nose,
a little bit of nose, a little bit of ears. You know,
head, shoulders. I'll be watching.
He needs all of his senses.
I will be watching intently.
This is a big one. This will be fun to watch. I'm actually excited to watch it. Now, I've said that in every game. 2 of them have been disappointing, but they got to grab this one.
The rare getaway day night game, which is becoming rarer and rarer across Major League Baseball. But since they're in Phoenix and heading to San Diego, they've got the night game tonight at 6:40.
Got to take the dog to the dog park first.
You got to take the dog to the dog
crank
park.
That out. Got to crank that out. Got to
get come to my dog park.
This one is off the 94 Grapes. Badass. It's near the Balboa Golf Course, which is one of I think the public courses.
Yeah.
Which I need to play. But bro, it's just acres. These dogs just go
off leash.
Off leash, yeah.
Enclosed.
Mostly.
No. See, I don't do mostly.
I don't blame you for not doing mostly.
The dogs have paws.
But here's the thing.
Run away.
Here's the thing. It's like so wide that you're not going to have an issue. And if you're taking the dog within this park, like they're going to eventually run around, and just when it's time to, like, they're basically coming for the leash. They're like, put this thing on me. I'm tired.
Because they have so much space. And okay. All right.
Yeah, but it's right near that golf course. It's beautiful.
The other story that we're referencing here, so the NFL Hall of Fame game is underway, right? The first NFL preseason game of the year.
I got so much money on this game.
What do you got? Carolina minus the 1.5?
Oh, I don't even know where to start.
Okay. Well, it's going on right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Do we have a score in that game, Brent? Did you even mention that? Whatever.
I'm so nervous.
No score.
No score.
Three minutes in the first quarter.
Carolina.
I'm so nervous.
And no score and no starters in the game probably
They'll
either.
put these games, dude, on NBC, and 10 million people will watch, right? For some of these preseason games.
Get out of here. Tell me it's not 10 mil.
I think it'll be at least 10 million. Oh, my God. But I don't know. We'll find out, right? Millions of people will watch this game.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. With all these preseason games about to get underway, the biggest story in the NFL right now has to center on Aaron Donald's future. Pro Football Talk reporting at this hour, he is scheduled to make a decision in the coming days.
I think we already got our decision.
Which is he's coming back, right?
Yeah, doesn't it feel like if he's going through this song and dance and he's out there, he's been out there practicing and everything?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go through that, I mean, the Rams are smart to kind of probably no pressure. You do what you want to do.
Take your time.
They're already, by the way, and this is a cool setup for Aaron Donald, is because the team is good. Team is stacked. They're favorites right now to win the Super Bowl, at least to come out of the NFC, but I think favorites to win the Super Bowl. They've been active. They're a well-run organization. He's already won a Super Bowl with them. Like, for them to kind of just sit on the sidelines and just say, you just let us know when you're ready and we'll go from there. I think they're approaching it the right way. I think he's coming back. I'd be shocked if he's not coming back.
They have twice shorter odds than Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. So not only are they the favorite, they're plus 550, so 5.5 to 1. Buffalo is 10 to 1. I think if Donald returns, that 5.5 to 1 goes down to 5 to 1 or 4.5 to 1. It's kind of crazy how they've emerged as not just the favorite, like the clear-cut favorite in the NFL is the Rams.
Here's the only thing that can hurt them. And this is going to be for all of these teams.
They're
the
old.
division is just phenomenal. At least it always is, right? So,
other than Arizona,
other than Arizona, but you got tough games. You're going to get 2 against Seattle. You're going to get 2 against the 49ers, but they're also going to get 2 against you. So, I mean, that division is stacked, and that's the only thing that you're going to go through some really tough games.
Let me ask you this:
okay,
Arizona Cardinals in that division, they're now playing all 3 of those teams, right? So they're going 0-6. Let's just say Arizona. What's your over under? You'd be happy to take the over on. Is it 1.5? Like how many games is Arizona going to win this year
in the division?
No, in the football field, the team. Against opponents. I think
in the football field.
I think they're expected to be the worst team in the NFL. Maybe Miami. Maybe Miami. I think they're see if you can find a win total, Brian, in Arizona. I'm telling you, to your point on the division, that's 6 of your games.
They got to go up against all these.
Can't be higher than like 3.5 wins. I'd be shocked if it was higher than 3.5. Imagine though, that's your team. And going in, you're going to win 2. You're already playing for like the first pick in the NFL draft.
What's the AL East right now?
Yeah.
With Tampa, the Yankees, and the Red Sox, all 3 of those teams could legitimately be in the World Series.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's kind of almost an
like
equivalent
Baltimore.
Of that. It's an equivalent of that.
Yeah.
I love it when I'm right. The over/under is 3.5.
3.5 in 17 games.
I have no reason to take the over on that, but I'll take the over just because it's 3.5.
It is 3.5. We just mentioned, speaking of the AL East, or back to baseball for a moment, like they just put on the screen recently, Boston is 30-5 in their last 35 games. Now they're still 5.5 games out in their division. They'd actually be the 5 seed?
5.5 of the division right and a game behind the Yankees. Yankees, I think, are 4.5 behind Tampa.
Let me ask it this way. Because I know your thoughts on the dominant Dodgers, the position that they're in. Like, is anything changing in the second half of the year? If a team goes into the postseason, 50-12 over a 62-game stretch, whether that's Boston or Milwaukee finishes 9 games better than
they're
LA.
Kind of starting to build a little bit of a cushion there with that number 1 overall.
For you in the
what do you
opinion?
mean? What do you mean?
Like, are they still the prohibitive favorite if they go into the postseason as the 3 seed in the National League, as opposed to the 1 seed? They'd have to go on the road potentially in the NLDS or NLCS. They wouldn't have home field advantage.
I don't think that matters as much. I don't think it matters that much. I think for a team like them at this stage, you've kind of won it every way you can. So what does it matter? And I think for, we'll use the Padres as an example. And it ain't going to happen, but last season, I thought it was so crucial they had home field against the Cubbies.
Yeah, in the wild card.
Now, there's certain teams that have had so much success. Maybe they've won a World Series. It doesn't matter as much. But I think for SD, these things do matter. Sure. So, no, I don't think it matters when it comes to that. Now, listen, Boston, that record is wild. That record is crazy,
man.
How about this? They went on a 15-game winning streak, and I don't know what happened after that. Did they lose a couple? Did they lose one? I have no idea. They're on a 7-game winning streak now. How do you have a 15-game winning streak and a 7-game winning streak all in the same month?
I mean, to your point, though, about does any of this matter? So Boston's 30-5, right? Over the stretch.
35, yeah.
They have a 6% chance of winning the World Series. LA is 0-6 in their last 6. They have the tied for the second best record now in the National League, right? And they've got a 23.5% chance. Now, that was over 30% the day of the deadline. We looked at it the day of the deadline. It was over 30%. It's now 23.5. But it proves your point, which is despite all of this, 30-5.
Yeah,
they've got a 6% chance of winning the World Series.
I got this talent. I got these pitchers who've done it in the highest moments. Yeah. I've got, that to me is a much bigger equation than anything else.
I think the most fascinating part about all of this is who's gonna
what is it?
Who's gonna make the World Series out of the American League? Like it could be some rando, like the White Sox, the Rays. I mean, Houston, 50. It could be. I feel like it's completely wide open, and maybe it will.
How
be
do
the
we
Boston
get in
Red
that
Sox.
division with the Astros and the Angels and the A's?
You want to know how?
That's my favorite division.
Expand baseball to 32 teams, which is going to happen very soon.
That's my favorite division in baseball.
The division where every team goes 500 every year.
Yes, and it's in the American League.
Right, so you
That's
can
my
avoid.
favorite. That's my favorite division.
Okay, if we redo divisions in the future, you don't want to be in the Dodger, Giant, Angel division.
Angel? What do you mean Angel?
The division. Let's say you realign baseball. And
No,
you could
because then we're
put
basically
the California
we're
teams
just
together.
we're just now. No, I want to go.
You want
Angels
Rockies?
can be in the mix, but I think there's a cutoff. There's a very strong cutoff, and then we start going
to Phoenix
towards Arizona. Yep.
Right.
And then maybe we go up a little bit.
I actually think one day that's kind of an interesting conversation. Like when there is
Some realignment.
if they go to 32 teams, what division will the Padres be in?
Baseball is absolutely absurd the way they do it.
Divisions?
Brother, you got the Yankees and the Mets in two separate leagues. I mean, it's
kinda like you
idiotic.
Have to. Well, it's like the Giants and the Jets are in two separate leagues. The Rams and the Chargers are in two separate leagues.
Still idiotic. Is the NBA the only one that just does this thing regionally? The NBA, the Pacific
the NBA
Division,
have
you got
divisions?
the Lakers, the Clip. They do, but it has become more and more like complete non-fact. It doesn't mean it. They actually should get rid of the divisions. It doesn't mean
Name
anything.
the divisions.
The Pacific Division, Southwest Division,
The Atlantic,
the Atlantic. I mean, it's
Central.
It's so not talked about that
I'll give you $30 million if you can name the NHL divisions.
the Pacific.
One of them is like the Metropolitan. One's
it
like
really?
the Brent. Look that up for the other side.
These divisions make no sense.
They make no
At this
sense.
stage, they make no sense.
Completely agree.
Now it's different. I mean, in baseball, you actually are
Actually
facing.
make a lot of sense.
Yeah, they make a lot.
And the
of sense.
NFL, it makes a lot of sense.
Now, if you did that in the NBA, there would be more. There'd be more reason for it. But the divisions are based off of where you are actually located.
Right, I get it. All right, we'll share those NHL divisions with you on the other side if you care. Plus, which NBA career would you rather have?
It's kind of an interesting one.
Which NBA career would you rather have? Plus, we're giving away Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan tickets all ahead on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, final time today. Schaefer and Sliwa. Back tomorrow. Kevin Acey will be on the show. Jaden Denigal, Aztec starting quarterback as well. Before we go anywhere here, what are the NHL divisions? Brent's got them.
I got one of them right. Pacific. I got right.
Yes.
Killed Pacific.
But you didn't name any others.
Because you didn't give me a chance. I was in the process. Metropolitan was my second one.
Exactly.
It's
What are they?
the Atlantic, Central, Metropolitan, and the
What
Pacific.
does metropolitan mean?
What do you mean, what does it mean?
It was cities?
It's a fancy word for city, John.
All these places have cities. It's NHL.
Fancier cities.
They're
Yeah,
fancy cities.
I would have no idea.
So you don't get no fancier than Columbus, Ohio. Let me tell
that's
you.
so metropolitan. It's so metropolitan. Okay, you found something interesting about whose career would you rather have in the NBA, kind of ring/money edition? Would you rather have rings or would you rather have the cash at the end of the day?
You ever have this conversation before, in all your years doing sports talk radio? This is kind of like people ask, like there's one in the NBA, and if you guys remember a player, Norris Cole, used to play for the Miami Heat, who won 2 championships with the Miami Heat. He was on Club 520 podcast.
Oh.
And he was talking about his career earnings and his 2 rings for somebody else's career earnings and no rings. So, like, I'll give you an example. There's always been a conversation. Would you rather be a Hall of Famer in the NBA or have Robert Ory's 7 championships?
It's a lot, yeah.
Okay, so known as being one of the most clutch players in the histories of the NBA. Or do you want to be Charles Barkley and be a freaking Hall of Famer? Or be Karl Malone and be a Hall of Famer? So here's what Norris Cole said. I'm going to read this here because this one, it's a little bit more, it's a financially based.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm taking $50 million and my rings. He's got 2 of them. You got to remember, for me and what I value, $50 million, I could get anything I want. How many Rolls Royces, how many mansions can you get? And in the Midwest, $1 million house and $1 million house in Miami or LA is 2 different lifestyles. And now the picture here, Legion Hoops put this up. It's got a picture of Norris Cole in Miami, and then it's got a picture of James Harden with the Cavs.
Yeah.
And basically it says that you want the Norris Cole $50 million over his career and 2 rings, or $400 million and no rings. Here's the only thing I don't like. Here's the only thing I don't like about that question. 50 and 400 is a freaking huge.
Huge difference.
We could go 50 and 100.
Yeah. Do you feel like
50
this is
and
an
125?
I feel like this is an NBA NFL conversation and not a baseball one. Like, very rarely do I hear someone critique Tony Gwynn's career and say, yeah, but he doesn't have a ring. And now the opposite side, people will tell you Derek Jeter is the most clutch playoff performer of their lifetime. But it's like, are we going to look back? And I think some people will on Trout. We're going to look back on Trout and be like, brilliant player. But man, not only did he not win a ring, he played 3 playoff games in his career.
I don't know. I think Trout, to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to be talked about much. Like, I know his numbers are unbelievable, but he just, I never got to see that moment with Mike Trout.
No, it's fair.
At least Tony Gwynn, you're talking about, obviously being in a World Series and having some moments. And the unfortunate thing with Mike Trout, there's going to come a day where you can say, Mike Trout, remember, him and Shohei were on the same team? Yeah, they never played in a playoff game.
Well, but do you agree, though, with the baseball, caveat? Like, would you rather be, would you rather have Will Smith's career or Tony Gwynn's?
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. It's less talked about in the sport of baseball. It's less of a conversation in baseball.
In basketball, the whole sport is centered around chips. Rings.
How many finals did you go to?
Right.
I mean, if you're making the argument, who's the greatest of all time, they'll use, LeBron went to 10 and went 4 and 6. Michael was 6 and 0. It's like, that's where the conversation's supposed to stop. Right?
Yep.
So what would you do? You want the rings and the unbelievable wealth, or do you want, I just want the most amount of money as possible?
I think I'll take James Harden's career. I mean, just, frankly speaking, I don't know. There's a lot of players now that I think what they say in the NBA, the last 8 or 9 years, there have been 8 or 9 different champions.
God, 50 and 400 is just too far of a
There's a lot of players that have rings.
Yeah, but he makes a great point though. 50 million in the Midwest goes a lot longer than 50 million in Miami.
You never need to.
Well, yeah, 50 million is a lot of money.
You just be smart. Obviously, with 10 million, you never got to work a day in your life. It could be
And that's saying a lot
generational
too
wealth.
for athletes. Though, be smart with your money. But I get what
I
you're
can't
saying.
talk it out of both sides of my mouth though, because it's like saying, what would you take for a Padres title? A lot of people would trade in a lot. So
I
like
agree.
it's not solely a financial conversation.
You can't buy it.
You can't
As
exactly.
in, like, it's a people say don't buy things, buy experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. And at the end of the day, though, James Harden is good.
Yeah.
Although there's also the belief too. I mean, money's great. At the end of the day, right?
400
Money's
mil,
great.
that's a lot.
But-
But I'm all for the chips. I'd rather have a championship, or I'd rather have a lot of money in a championship than unbelievable amount of money. But 450,
It's a lot.
that's
But do you
a
believe in the
too big of a
premise that
difference.
like money doesn't buy happiness? I do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like there is a point where a lot of money is a lot of money.
What was your comp you were giving me earlier? We were talking about putting this up for a conversation. Who were you mentioning?
Who?
You were mentioning Dean Spanos.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. It's like, yeah, what do you want? You want money or you want legacy? And like Dean Spanos is gonna be rich either way. He already owned the San Diego Chargers. Now he owns the LA Chargers. Yeah, is he richer now? Theoretically speaking, I'm sure he is. But I'm always thinking about
You
like
got
what's
no
the first
love.
line?
You used to have. You could have money, respect.
What's the
love,
first line
everything.
of your obituary? If the first line of your obituary is Dean Spanos, the infamous owner of the Chargers who displaced San Diego's franchise for Los Angeles controversially, passed at the age of 91, I don't want that as the first line of my obituary.
Yeah.
So I have to consider that in real time. So yeah, I mean, that's where the money doesn't buy everything conversation is a part of
Yeah,
it.
and every time I hear somebody say like, "Oh, but the value of his franchise, brother, you were the biggest fish in San Diego. Period. Point
Oh, of
blank.
course, yeah, of course.
You could be a king in San Diego. They don't care, nor do they even know who the hell you are in LA.
Right.
Literally, I'm telling you, literally. I mean, from the moment they moved up there, I was obviously there. I was there that entire time. Nobody gives a flying you-know-what about them up there, period. You had real, genuine love in San Diego.
Yeah, like he could go to here. Maybe he wanted
Greed,
this.
brother.
He
Greed.
could go. Maybe he wanted this. You can go Vons. You can go to Vons in LA. I think he's not getting stopped. Like I think he can go anywhere he wants in LA without getting recognized.
Yeah, but
truthfully.
I just go back to the same thing. It's like what you already had everything. I mean, what does it matter to have that net worth go up a little bit, and you never got your stadium?
By the way, someone mentioned Xander, who's got rings. We still have our opinions on Xander.
But he got both.
He's got paid too. Yeah.
To your point, Alan, I always, when it comes to money, I always bring up this quote from The Simpsons. Homer asked Mr. Burns once, he goes, "You're the richest guy I know." And Mr. Burns' comment was, "Yeah, but I would trade it all for just a little more."
A little more. By the way, developing news related to Nick Pivetta. His progression has been paused. Per Craig Stammen, his rehab progression has been paused. Nick Pivetta, who needs to be on the mound by later this month to avoid his contract being voided, his rehab has been paused. Nothing has changed, according to Craig Stammen. Still optimism, but anytime someone comes off the mound in the middle of an inning when they're rehabbing an elbow injury, we have to pause. Then why are you throwing a bullpen after that? That's insane. That is insane.
Well, if you look at his comments yesterday too, they kind of listen. Let's all be honest with each other. We're all going to be surprised if we see Nick Pivetta at some point this year.
At this point, yes. Unfortunately,
right? They're just that's not part of a rehab process.
It's not a. No.
I mean, it is part of a rehab process, but it's not. It's a setback.
Of course, it can happen. You're right. It can happen,
but it's a setback, and the whole reason why they're pushing right now is because they're on the clock, as in the season, he's on the clock because of his contract.
Again, Nick Pivetta's rehab progression has been paused per Craig Stammen this afternoon before Game 4 of this series. The latest tomorrow with Kevin Acee. It really does for both the Padres and for Pivetta. All right, big one tonight.
Come on,
the
Bueller.
Padres and the D-backs. If you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app. We will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Jaden Denigal, Aztec quarterback, on the show as well.
Peace, everybody.
For Alan and Brent, I'm John Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Peace.